Hello! Welcome, everybody. How are we doing? It is a lovely Sunday where we have another random encounter. Being as it is the holiday season, I figured we'd bring to you one of the best Christmas games of all time. Today we have Parasite Eve, and we've brought together some fabulous runners and commentary. We've got RJ and Palmer. You two want to introduce yourselves and take it away.
Yeah, I'm Santa Claus. I love playing the Die Hard of video games every year, so I'm happy to be here.
My name is Palmer. It's always a pleasure to show up for the homies and put on a good show. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, let's just get this thing going. Get right into the holiday spirit. And the timer will start when we click new game here, so I'll give you a 3, 2, 1, go count. So we got 3, 2, 1, go.
And now we have a great break at the start of the run.
yeah, yeah. If you guys have something to do, just go up, get up and stretch, grab a snack, wrap some presents.
Immediately thrust into the action here. Yeah.
I like to think that I wear this outfit for every single time I have to run this in like a holiday marathon, just so it gives me an incentive to not mess up so I don't have to actually suffer as much. It doesn't work usually, but I like to think. And I know what maybe some of you are thinking, this guy has a tree up for the run, how festive. This tree has been here for 2 years now, and it hasn't moved. And it's never going to move again, because bringing it up here was such a pain. It's not going back down. It lives here now, upstairs in this room.
RJ's just really dedicated to the bit and Parasite. You know what I mean? He waits for this time of year with with a lot of excitement. So clearly,
He's like a modern day Mariah Carey. We just start thawing him in like late October.
That's right.
he goes into deep slumber in February.
Here we got Aya, our main character. She is on reluctantly on a date with this gentleman here to this opera. We're gonna name her. What should we name her? I didn't even actually think about this. Let's name her RPGLB and be super creative about it.
There we go. There we go. It's not the worst name I've ever seen her be named, so I'm feeling it.
All right, so right now we're getting right into the... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the same thing. Without giving too much away, there's a really important scene coming up. You guys can enjoy that, and then I figure we can kind of catch up on the going-ons of the title. Don't want to leave you guys too much in the dark, but this is a really impactful scene if it's your first time seeing it.
Yeah, we played too much of the game. The game's like, whoa, 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 slow down, buddy. You've played the game too much. We need another cutscene.
That's enough gameplay for today. Why don't you take it easy, champ?
One thing that's worth mentioning is the equipping of the club away from the pistol that we were using, and you'll kind of see that come to fruition a little bit here later. But that's like literally the one thing. You like tap a couple buttons, name her, swap the club, move forward, next cutscene. So it's a very streamlined ordeal.
I do enjoy about this game something just like how expressive they make the models move, since there's no voice or anything like that. Like, if you were just sitting here silently and not yapping constantly, you could actually tell what's going on just by how they're moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely see the Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII kind of in between of character models. You know what I mean? You can kind of see it as that bridge.
maybe here. Hold on. How's that?
We still. That's good.
It might be because of my own setup kind of thing, but I think... Okay. But anyway, so this play goes for, or the opera goes from like 0 to 100 instantaneously. Everyone's
Excellent
on fire.
special effects.
Yeah, pyrotechnics out of this world.
Every
Was this a
reason I've ever
Rammstein
needed to not go to the opera any less than I already do. You know what I'm saying?
I watched this scene so many times, I started to like give some of the people in this like names. Like, oh, we already missed a lot of them, but this guy looks like Walter Matthau to me, so he's always been Walter Matthau. We had Matt Damon at some point, the lady from Shark Tank.
I will say, Aya throws
Yeah, I
an
can see that.
aggressive hip check coming up out of this scene. Like, she absolutely clears this dude.
Yeah.
And talk about
I
being so
mean-
lucky that the girl you go on a date with keeps you safe from the combustion. You know what I mean? Like, count your lucky stars and probably never go on another date after that one.
Yeah, that was your
Time to become a
sign.
hermit.
Yeah, her date is the only person who survives this ordeal other than Aya herself. And it's because of her immense aura.
How much
Easier way to
farming does she
describe it.
do?
Yeah.
I thought I wasn't close enough. That's good. But we
Yep.
do need to see some crits here. There's a couple of different ways this fight could work out right away. We could either be 4, 5, or 6 hits. 5 is basically what happens most of the time, I'd say. We only need 2 crits to get 5 hits. So far, not good. Okay. Ah!
A crit on
The
every
dream's
single
alive!
hit.
Yep.
You'll end it in
Ah.
just 4 hits. But yeah, that dream does not come to fruition very often.
No.
No, only after you flubbed the opening menu and named her Aya.
Yeah. But anyway, 6 hits is what it is. It's like, I mean, we're talking the difference of like another ATB load, so like 2.5 seconds or something like that. So the run's absolutely dead already, but we'll keep going.
Yeah, we just might as well reset that bad boy at this point.
Yeah, we got time. On the plus side, though, I've always kind of while we're progressing, I've always kind of touted this game as, I think personally, one of the best entry points. When it's like, if you ever wake up one day and you're like, you know, I would like to become an RPG speedrunner. I want to learn how to speedrun RPGs. I always point to this game, and I'm not 100% sure why, because it's not the easiest thing per se, but I think it's like there's such just a good mix of skills and the pacing and the timing. I don't know how either of you feel about it, but
No, I'd agree. I think this is a pretty good entry point into wanting to learn an RPG of some kind, and it's a little different too. So you got a lot of turn-based stuff. This is kind of like a hybrid turn-based action RPG.
As far as like RPGs go, it's definitely on the shorter side of what exists in the world for RPG speedruns. And the notes and things like that that exist for it are super easy to pick up and learn. So I think I think it has like a solid entry point as well. So yeah, check it out if you're interested. There's more than enough resources.
and the notes are really, really thorough.
Yeah, if you wanted to,
Time that if you wanted to do a 12-hour challenge, you can literally just in 12 hours open the game up, follow the notes as you play through it, and be done in probably 6. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then from there
Yeah.
you could probably half it.
that is legitimately how I learned this game. I did a 12-hour challenge of it one year. I did an entire
time,
run through of just reading the notes, and then I did a second run of it right after it.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I used to beg people, hey, 12-hour challenge, man, come look, consider us. I swear you can do it in 6 hours.
Yep.
I think you might have gotten me. I'm pretty sure. Oh, going the wrong way. I'm pretty sure I did it because of you specifically.
There we go. Networking. You heard it
there
here
you go.
first. So as we kind of progress through the most common and
Yeah, I think we lost.
It's all right. We got it paused.
Hey, it looks like we.
All right. Hold on. There we go.
Hey.
There is. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I was looking at our call display for the game video, and I wasn't moving when I was pushing buttons, but it was just really delayed. I was like, "What's happening here?"
Oh no!
We're so back. We're so back.
Oh, we are so back, and it's
what's
time
going
for
on,
a
everybody? Welcome to Parasite Eve on RPG Limit Break.
I guess I would call this like the first quote unquote boss fight of the game. I guess this is like where you actually have to start paying attention to the run.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of opportunity to save or lose time here, like which is kind of unique from the other fights where, like RJ mentioned, you're kind of at the mercy of ATB and 1 hits or 2 hits or whatever.
Yeah, there's definitely you could definitely be aggressive in this fight if you really want to. I'm gonna choose to not do that so I don't die.
One of the early, I mean, like you can absolutely die at this fight, 10-15 minutes into your playthrough, if you're, trying to feel it out and figure out how it works.
Yeah, I've actually, so because it's December, a lot of people are playing this game for the first time. It definitely brings out a lot of the first time players. The amount of people I see die to this fight specifically just because she's so annoying is a non-zero number.
Yeah, she hits hard for like
She does.
what you would figure for like the first kind of like, oh, this is an actual fight of the game, and she comes up and takes up half of your HP in one swing. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, and the game doesn't actually give you a tutorial until like after the end of this day, right? So you're kind of left to feel out the controls and mechanisms of the game, and that can be kind of hard to do when she's whacking you for 27 on crits or whatever.
Yeah, and she just sweeps across the screen. And one thing we haven't actually seen yet, because overall she was pretty nice about it. We haven't seen the contact damage. There is contact damage with enemies that you'll go to wind up to swing, but because you get hit in the middle of it, it stuns you and she restarts the animation, then you miss. There's a whole lot of nonsense that can happen with that fight, but not too bad.
For the record, or for the like what it's worth, in like marathon settings or casually, or even if you're just trying to feel out your first speed run, you can, like RJ did, kind of play at distance and make that fight kind of go a little slower, and if for just exchange for a few seconds, you can really up their survivability.
Yep. Yeah, melee combat in this leaves a little to desire, I think, but what kind of there's
relevant
tons of
so early.
Games. Yeah.
And then like it kind of falls off, like you can't really upgrade them the same way you can upgrade guns, because they don't bring their stats over the same way and whatnot. You can't tool them, so it's like it's just very weird, and it's a disappointment because I feel like there could be a lot of fun stuff with like club runs and stuff,
I know there are some people who have done club only runs, which are pretty interesting.
It's a while because you're kind of just whacking.
Yeah, as a result of the consequences from my own actions, I will actually be attempting to do a club percent speed run next week.
I did some trials of it before and kind of played with the different melee weapons that exist and things like that, and yeah, have fun, man. Have fun with that.
I was gonna say, if you're I know if you're interested in this style of game, you're like, man, I wish there was perhaps a newer, prettier type of thing. Don't worry, there's I think there's actually 2 games that are in some level of development or production. There's Parasite Mutant and was it 45 Parabellum? I think.
Yeah.
Both kind of like not Square Enix, but like spiritual fan, developer style successors. So
Nice frog
makes me
skip.
actually more optimistic.
Thanks. Yeah, I took it a little slow. Sometimes I'm feeling myself a little bit, and I go for this like YOLO line that I have, but that is not worth it.
Yeah, so that's actually the just like they brought up, the only skip in the game, the entire game. It's just that one encounter very early on, and it actually, when it came to be, was actually kind of a pain because we had to figure out like EXP backups because it changed when we leveled and stuff like that in Central Park. So yeah, I mean, it's if you can find another skip for this game, you'll be a pretty celebrated individual in our Discord of 12 people.
You would be a superstar. We'll name the skip after you. I'll say all sorts of nice things. Trust me.
We're not shy to do wacky things for incentives. You know what I mean? We gotta do what we can to bring the eyeballs to the community.
Here we go. At the end of every day, this game is split up of course over 6 days, with the first day being Christmas Eve. But at the end of each day, there is a de facto boss fight, and this is the boss for the first day here, the Gator, the Electric Gator. I'll pay attention, so.
Oh, that's a nice gator.
He's getting awfully close. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get close enough. So we got a nice smooth phase 1. So as you see, the game tells you there's 2 different parts you can shoot, the head and the tail. For the first phase, we really want to just focus on the tail, because if you end up shooting it in the face, it goes a little wacky.
Okay. Yeah, it gets a little angry and unruly.
Oh, I got contact. I thought it hit me at first, and I was like, no way did I just get hit from behind by that. But, I say no way, but it would totally be a real thing that happens in this game.
Oh, for
really?
sure.
You're going to try to melee me twice, huh? Why are you like this, dude?
Ooh, nice crits.
Had a little internet drop there right at the best part.
that last string of crits actually probably did make a difference, because we were doing none of that through the first couple of turns. But honestly, a pretty smooth fight. Any fight where you don't just get demolished by the Gator is a good fight.
Yeah, we take those.
Cutscene at the end of it, especially in a marathon run. Hey man, we take that every time.
Yeah. I've been actually playing this game on my own stream for whatever reason I feel compelled to do so. So I'm feeling better about things lately than the last couple of showcase runs I've done in this game. we won't talk about the hotfix where the Gator killed me.
I like Daniel's very forward-thinking style of being a partner, of punching first and asking none questions.
Yeah, Daniel's literally the GOAT. He'll come up he'll punch a reporter in the back of the head and then drive 100 miles an hour down the streets of New York.
He said, "Hop in the car, we're getting out of here," and they left. They really left.
And then while he's driving at Mach 12, he makes fun of Aya for going on a date with that guy. It's like, the scene's great. Daniel's introduction is like a 10 out of 10.
Poor date, man. What a long evening.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly can't think of a much better character introduction than Daniel. Just
he rocks.
Punches a dude, doesn't say anything, drives at Mach speed, and then makes fun of someone for going on a date with a dorky dude.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And he legit doesn't chill out at any point. He just continues to be fire pretty much consistently throughout the entirety of the game.
He has no chill.
All gas.
No chill.
But here we go. We've again, once again, we have played the game too much, and Parasite Eve's like, all right, now it's time to tell you how to play the game and do some exposition. So we'll be doing that for a little bit here. Get to meet some of the 7 characters that we'll talk to reoccurringly throughout the game.
Yeah, and the game for speedrunning and breaks and whatnot is kind of split up in a funny way where like every day comes to a conclusion. You know what I mean? So it's like it feels a little episodic. It was like six episodes, basically 6 days, and each one kind of has its own like intro outro kind of vibe to it, and that's kind of what you're seeing here.
We also get one of the best bangers of all time by Yoko Shimomura, Out of Phase.
Yeah, the hub sound, because it'll move to a different place later for just a little bit, but it's always here too. But it's like to designate your safe space hub area for whatever you're doing, and it's always a banger. It's just so chill.
Yeah, the game's sound is actually like probably the strongest element of the entire title. Just personally, between like they do really good job with like the atmospheric footsteps and stuff like that in certain areas, and they cut sound entirely, and then the music they do have in certain areas is incredible. So yeah, it's really one of the strongest elements of the title.
Then in this scene specifically, we're in the armory of the police department. We get introduced to Wayne and Torres, kind of like the people who upgrade, and introduce us to the system at which this game progresses. Because, like, yes, Aya will gain levels and stuff will increase, she'll gain new skills, but really how we actually progress and do more damage throughout this run is by upgrading and modifying the guns that Aya is using. So they kind of try to introduce that a little bit in there. They're pretty important. We won't really be doing a ton with them outside of the couple of visits we're forced to do, but very important to the actual, progression of the game itself.
Yeah, and it's an interesting kind of like, I guess it's an upgrade mechanic, but like how it functions is pretty interesting. And being somewhat versed in firearms, it does like as we go through the game, I'm just imagining like pieces of all these weapons coming together into this just heinous amalgamation.
This Frankenstein gun.
It is.
Do play the title casually, these guys you can actually spend a lot of time with, because there's an item called junk that drops throughout the game, and in a speedrun we're going to ignore it just because it is what it sounds like, inventory junk for the run. But if you're playing casually and you have the time to farm up junk, you can turn in certain amounts of junk to these guys for like rare and powerful weapons. And if you're ever doing New Game Plus or Chrysler Building, that's typically the route people go.
Yep. Junk farm.
Yeah, I did that. I did the whole shebang. I played the game casually for whatever reason, and I was doing my own New Game Plus file for whatever reason. I've been living the Parasite Eve experience this holiday season. And the junk grind is no joke, if you want to do it early at least.
Mm-hmm. It is. There is something
in the speedrun. I feel like all I ever see is junk, but then when you need it, nowhere to be found.
Yeah, 100%. I just like some of the dualities of like the character models here. Like Chief Baker here definitely is like President Shinra at home. And then we're about to go meet definitely not Hojo at home.
No.
You could tell that the character models were maybe kind of like built on, or built with a reference in mind of like, hey, this is maybe what we wanted this guy to look like if we had the polygons to do it X amount of years ago. So yeah, it's pretty funny. I feel the same way about Eve and Genova a lot as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, Eve's got a lot of Genova Ultimisia vibes going on. And I don't think, like, if you really sit there and look at Aya, especially her eyes, that she doesn't not look like Cloud a little bit.
Eventually, her character model in Third Birthday and stuff like that is based, like, has a lot of similarities with Lightning. I think they end up sharing a lot of model similarities later on.
Yeah, I could actually see that. Here we go. We're still on the exposition train. We learned a little bit about the game and got to run around the police department, get introduced to some things that happened there, and now we're back on the story. We're going to meet a scientist in the museum here who might know a thing or two about possibly what's going on here.
Maybe.
He happens to be an
Maybe.
expert in opera combustion incidents.
Opera combustion and mitochondria science.
Works in a
I like
dinosaur
that Daniel
museum.
makes us sign in. Thanks, Daniel.
Stickler for the paperwork.
That's how, that guy is really good at his job, The museum guy, he's like,
Professional.
you need to sign these papers. You're not special.
Come here
for
in
that, he's a
years.
real one.
Please sign your name.
He has the biggest flashlight I've ever seen. Honestly, that's probably why they actually signed the papers, because he comes up and swings that at you. I don't want anything to do with that.
People don't know that he
Auto
was
crit.
actually the that was actually the character inspiration for the film Night at the Museum. So
the 3 seconds we see this guy inspired that entire movie.
Robin Williams, believe it or not.
Yep.
Sorry,
But
it was
here's
who was
Hans
it?
Clamp, not Hojo.
I don't have any clamps, but I have hemostats. Will that be acceptable?
Yeah.
Plot-wise, we don't really actually have a good answer for. You might be asking, why does this guy know so much about this really weird specific incident? We don't actually know. We roll up
Yeah.
here and we kind of question him, and he plays a little fast and loose with his answers. He's obviously hiding something that he knows more about, that kind of vibe. So you get the idea really quickly that he's going to be a not so swell individual.
And then he goes right back to making sick beats on his keyboard.
Yep.
He's basically the
Slapping it up.
Chainsmokers in 1997.
What, all of his music is in the key of C major?
Yeah, and on a laptop or keyboard.
You see that screen? He probably only had one key to work with.
Yeah. Well, he definitely can't see what's happening on the screen itself, so he's just hitting buttons and hoping it works out.
More unrealistic things about the game is that they were able to evacuate almost the entirety of New York City in a single calendar evening.
Yeah. Jeez. I can imagine the actual logistics that would take.
Just, I live in, me and you both live pretty close to New York City, and having been there, this would not happen. Even if people wanted to, there'd just be so much nonsense. I couldn't even imagine.
I have personally sat for
Yeah.
an hour at the exit of the Holland Tunnel Bridge trying to actually get into the city, but like traffic was so it was just at a standstill. Like people in the middle of intersections. The only way we got through is because buses started just pushing their way through and making openings. Oh, look at all those nice things. Oh, you're throwing it on the ground.
Yeah, we pick up a bunch of stuff throughout the run so far. Like, we get a bunch of mod permits that they can handle. Oh, little missing the door there. We get a bunch of mod permits. We have some armor and a whole bunch of other things, and basically we just take all that and throw it away. But we do make our in that menu there. We do make our first upgrade in the gun we're using.
Unlike a lot of your standard RPGs, this one features a much more limited inventory system. It's not like your Final Fantasies where you can carry a bazillion of something. They really wanted to kind of bridge that survival horror kind of, you know, like you got 26 spots, better carry what you need kind of vibe, which at certain times feels cool and is a fun part of the game. But there's a reason RPGs don't really limit your inventory usually, and sometimes that comes back to bite you a little bit in this.
Yeah. And then part of the upgrade system with the leveling of Aya is she'll get points after accumulating a certain amount of points through leveling that she can put into specific stats. You could either put that point into like a gun stat, or you could put it into Aya's active time or inventory. You can upgrade her inventory. So we won't be doing any of that. We'll only ever be putting points either into the offense of the gun we're using or Aya's active time up to a certain point. But
Inventory percent speedrun? Question mark?
Yeah, get a full inventory, and then you're done the speed run.
You got it in the game, I think... and your gun's doing 7 damage.
But you can hold a lot of things.
900 medicines.
Just a bit of pew percent.
Alright, well, not a good ATB start, so we're gonna run up here. Oh, we did get an offense +2 in the first day. We didn't really talk about it because we were talking about, I'm gonna actually do this so I don't get poisoned. And then that is relevant. We pick up 2 offense boosts. It's usually 2 ones, but occasionally you can get a 2, and in very rare cases you get 2 offense +2s. But getting an offense +2 out of one of those chests actually makes a big difference in the amount of damage we're able to do to some of these enemies. That red snake, for instance, if we only get offense +1s, you need a critical hit and one of the 2 shots in order to kill it in a single turn. Otherwise, it'll take another shot. But with an offense +2, you can actually kill it with 2 non-crit shots. And then another example in just the, not this fight specifically, but the very next fight we'll do, depending on a drop that we're going to get, we might be able to start one-shotting crows with critical hits. Unfortunately, ATB stunk again, so one thing you'll notice is when your ATB is not great to start, I'm trying not to take a joke, that you'll end up probably just like, it puts you in a bad cycle with how the enemies move around on the screen. You'll end up taking some hits that maybe otherwise you wouldn't. Like that. Like, dodging the crows is a very easy thing, but when you go to shoot, Aya is locked in to where she is standing, and you're at the mercy of the game at that point.
Especially this early on where there's like not anything you can really do to save or lose time outside of it. You're kind of at the mercy of what the ATB RNG is going to give you here in Central Park, which can save or lose like a whole 30 seconds, you know, at the end of the day, just whether or not you got fast returns.
Yeah, for sure. So here we go. We did get the tool. That's good. We're gonna immediately take the stats from the gun we picked up in like the little side area there. Because that will allow us to, if we get lucky, start one-shotting crows with crits, which could also help. I'm gonna go for this monkey. He's gonna punch me. That's fine. 15's cool. Nice crit. He'll die. And then we'll see if we can get lucky here. Nope.
The game has such dynamic movement. Like, that's how you dodge attacks. Your ATB is really important because, you know what I mean, you spend less time moving around dodging if you can fire as soon as the, you know, as soon as the round starts.
So all the while we're doing this, I am paying attention to my ammo subconsciously. I know we came in here with 16 bullets. We always want to be on an even number of bullets entering basically every one of these fights. Wow, what do you know? Another bad ATB? That's crazy. Who would have thought? Now I'm gonna get hit by both crows. That's why I healed. I had a bad idea about it. I had a bad feeling, so I'm like, I'm gonna heal.
Central Park can be deceptively powerful. The snakes, for instance, put a DOT poison that is like really strong.
Yeah, it is. I blanked out. Are you using the auto heal vest or nah?
No, so that is more of a safety at this point. If you go into there and get it, I probably will make a save for Worm just to be safe, but generally, once you're comfortable with the game, you could probably forego it even in like a marathon setting. We will get one of those later, but not quite.
For those who
It actually has slightly lower armor, so you end up taking more damage from the worms slightly if you go that route in exchange for the heals.
Which is nice because you don't have to waste ATB to heal. It's got its pluses and minuses.
And on another note for that armor specifically, for the auto heal to proc, you need to actually have medicines in your inventory. And at this point, from random drops, you're going to end up having like 1 or 2 if you don't go out of your way to get some extras. Like we've ran past a couple of chests at this point where you could pick up some medicines and make better use of it. Or you could even be like plucking medicines out of some of the drops with the crows. They can either drop junk most of the time or they will have a medicine one. You could go grab some if you wanted to. Opting not to do that just to not clog the inventory.
Totally to Kios's point, if you're learning the game or new or whatever, that's just one of the multiple opportunities you have to kind of and take it easy or have a slightly easier run in exchange for a little bit of time as you do, figure things out and improve overall. So I like that it's an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like one of the ways to get better times in this game is to like ramp up your aggression in fights and things like that too. So on top of all of the safeties with the medicines and armor healing you can get, you could also just like take fights slower. Like just opt to learn the movements of things, learn where you should be standing.
It's almost like your parasite energy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which is like MP, I guess, in this game. That kind of accumulates slowly over time in combat. So if you actually take fights really slow and you're just working on dodging and things like that, you'll usually have a lot of that, and you can pretty much heal with your magic, quote unquote, at will.
Yep.
So we're gonna make a slight little detour up into this pavilion here. I'm gonna grab the
revive.
Because even the most experienced people, some of the things you run into in this game will just take you right out. So we're
looking at you, worms.
In a marathon, every revive you can grab before Shiva, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Yep, Shiva too. Even though it's not a particularly difficult fight, it can just be really rough.
There are so many times where I've gone into Shiva, and we'll talk about it more for sure when we get there, but Shiva has a combination of moves where she could just half your health, thought I was on a different screen, half your health immediately, and then follow up with a crit melee attack and just kill you.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing you could do about it.
Shiva is rough, perhaps?
But yeah, Shiva's the boss
got all
of
the tools.
Next day. Yeah, we did stop again. So if you are somebody who's ran the game in the past and haven't actually been up on it recently, there is slightly different routing and different menus and stuff like that, slightly more consolidated. It's all the same stuff, but it's a little more consolidated, but we do go out of our way to pick up an extra tool here to get more offense stats. It does end up helping in the long run.
Back when I was doing runs, the BP system, like when you leveled up and spent points, was a little different, and now it's like pure power. So kind of in what RJ was saying, where like the game rewards aggression. The new route, BP wise, puts a lot of points into power, and you actually save time in totality if you do get a decent amount of crits, over the course of the game, as well as your gun targeting enemies that you want it to target when we do get random targeting here in a little bit. So it is like a risk reward situation. But yeah, it's a lot of fun too, because I kind of like the oh, here we go, you know what I mean? Hopefully we hit it. It's kind of got an element of luck to it.
Yeah, it is impressive though, because you figure, adding 1 or 2 points to to damage. I mean, I guess it'll add up, but like it's actually a huge time save because I think some of the enemies went from being like 3 shots to 2 shots in the park now, or sometimes even 1 with a crit, which is huge in terms of how much time it ends up saving per fight.
Yeah, the big difference with the offense that we... Bummer. That's okay. The big difference with the offense that we get now is the ability to be able to one-shot crows more early on in the day, depending... Oh, wow. Okay, and then they're...
Oh! There it is.
Sorry, that like literally threw me off. I wasn't even ready for that. Yeah, you could crit kill, so now I was banking on that not happening, so I didn't reload my gun before the fight.
I think that the reason we're able to do that now is actually a byproduct of that extra gun tooling we do right when we enter as well.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah,
that
we
all
do-
kind of
we do
came
make-
together as a byproduct of that new route.
We do go out of our way to grab that
Yeah.
grenade launcher inside that like office room.
I mean, that's where I keep my grenade launchers, at the zoo, in the office.
Yeah, it's in the drawer behind the bench.
Yeah,
Keys.
it's for unruly patients.
Unruly animals.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to
there's
be
the
fair,
keys to all the doors and a grenade launcher.
yeah, to be fair, I mean, if I was at that zoo and I had a grenade launcher right now, I might not be that disappointed about it.
Yeah, true.
It's, you hate to need it and not have it.
All right, let's see. Hey, good ATB for one fight.
Yay! And the double crit. Love to
Because
see
you have
it.
to spend a fair amount of time running across the
there
screen
we go.
here, so perfect ATB isn't always even super helpful.
So that was actually pretty good.
Mhm.
And then I'm gonna pop a quick save just to be sure. We're about to go to one of the more infamous bosses of the game and speedrun.
Schwarms!
Definitely, when I think of Parasite Eve, this is definitely the boss that comes to mind first for me, for sure.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know, I spend a lot of time like labbing it and try to improve and what like that, and it's probably my favorite fight in the whole game. It's just a ton of fun.
Yep.
We did not get a good start to our ATB for this. Shock and surprise, so that already puts us at like a weird spot going forward, but we do a lot of damage.
Yeah, wow. I've also noted your crits are looking extra juicy today.
Yeah.
Loving that.
The crits are multiplicative, so like every point of damage has a chance to raise your crit threshold, I think 3. So it ends up for like every point of damage you hit, especially if you see a lot of crits, you end up getting, way higher reach than we would have previous to this route.
Mm-hmm.
Helpful in the next fight as well, just because ending that fight sooner than later isn't worried and smacking you or whatever.
Whoa. We're kind of scuffing this out. I've just kind of opted to take my lumps with how I've decided to do this. The one on the right is absolutely gonna live. Maybe it's not gonna be a huge deal. We're just gonna play.
Yeah, I think
so far.
it should only be like 2 shots probably. It depends on crits, but
Yeah, it does depend on crits. I could wait a cycle and try to even it out.
Plan-wise, the idea is that when one dies, the others grow stronger and more HP, grow larger in character size. And ideally, because of that, you want to kill the last 2 at the same attack cycle if possible. But based on their movement and ATB, that's not always like super easy to pull off.
Still. I got a little too antsy with the movement. Yeah, see, I thought I was going to take an extra shot. I think the crit may have killed if we got lucky, but
yeah.
I just wanted. That's why I was trying to play it safe and then got hit anyway, because the hitbox for this thing is
enormous.
Wacky to say the least.
Yeah, and in order to maximize our crit hit rate and our accuracy, you'll notice that RJ is basically like face to face with a lot of the enemies he's fighting. Because in this game, there is a distance threshold, and once you're potentially past that, your accuracy falls off a cliff. So, in
Yeah.
order to maintain the best values possible, as well as just to have the shots come out as quickly as possible, you want to minimize that distance between you and the enemy.
So even though that's probably the actual big
surviving,
bad of the day,
we do it.
We do have another fight. But yeah, that actually just in terms of comfiness, that was probably like a pretty chill worm, honestly. I didn't get hit until the very end.
It can go a lot worse. And when you're in a marathon setting, kind of just showing the people how it goes, I think that was about as good as you can ask. So well done, well executed, my friend.
Yep. Oh.
So in this fight, she has two different attack forms. One is that she can go up into the sky, and it takes a bit longer, and she puts this, AoE explosion on the ground. Well, when that happens, it's much easier to physically dodge, but it's slower. So there is a give and take on like baiting out her melee attacks, which could potentially do more damage, but also kind of the animations are much faster. So you're seeing RJ kind of intelligently place himself in different parts of the cart in order to kind of help coerce that decision making on her abilities.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna be sad when she goes up into the air in a marathon run like this, so I don't die. Because I mean, she hit us once and it wasn't that hard, but she could easily tee off and hit you for like 60 or 70 damage, and then it immediately gets
into the
scarier.
70s. It's nasty.
Yeah. So I'm not sad when she goes up there. Generally, if she goes up twice, we're definitely in the free. And I was at full health. Sometimes you're also coming in here because, like I said, we'll enter between Worm and the rest of the day. You'll enter in this fight maybe with not full health, and it's even a little scarier. And then sometimes you can just try to make her go up. You could just try to make it so she's not going to melee you, like play it as far away from possible, and she'll just hit you anyway. So, but being at full health, I wasn't super concerned. I was trying to bait out a little more physical attacks than she did, but it just doesn't always work.
A lot of times you can come out of worms with one medicine, you know what I mean? Yep. And it's like, oh, I'm at half health going into this fight. So you have to really be cognizant of the attack patterns.
But that is, for all intents and purposes, the end of gameplay today too. We have a lengthy little wrap-up cutscene where, the whole point of us going into the park in the first place was Daniel, well, I guess because of the threat overall, but Daniel knew that his ex-wife and his son Ben here were in the park. Daniel's ex-wife didn't actually get out of the park. She was a part of the goo in that cutscene. But Ben, conveniently went to go to the bathroom at some point or something like that, and was able to get out, thankfully. But
also,
Daniel,
you got to give it up for Eve's the musician Melissa, or Eve, however you want to refer to her. Got to give it up to her agent of the year. She literally was at a mass casualty event and was still booked to perform the next night. So
yeah,
and showed up.
Yeah, and rocked.
And people showed up.
Yeah,
I've gone to work for a lot less.
I've been forced to work for a lot less.
That's true. Or I guess
check after that.
Less paid. Yeah. Funding the entire operation. This entire game happens because of Melissa's agent.
The real mitochondrial Eve.
True. But so far so good, with the luck we've been given, this is pretty par for the course. The Worms fight in particular, just to rehash, like the ATB start, makes a huge difference to what kind of cycle you end up getting on with these worms and how they all pop up like that. Because generally, you at least want, probably 3/4 of your ATB to start at least, so you can maybe get one shot into the far worm when it pops up the first time. If you have to wait that extra turn, not only is that just basically pure time loss, but because at any point when the ATB bar is full and you are not shooting, that is just time loss going forward. So you always want to be shooting basically as soon as you can. But,
Yep.
that lower ATB making us not be able to shoot right away makes for a much more convoluted worm than we would hope for. But again, I'll take one where I basically don't get hit ever. That's fine.
Yeah.
Christmas miracle of doing it almost hitless. Because what luckily didn't show up also during that fight is, like Palmer was saying, you have to be in the face of the enemies. Being in the face of those worms offers a other threat that instead of launching those spike balls that they throw out, they will just melee you, which also throws them into a chaotic pattern. And it's just like it's why the fight is so cool, and that I agree with Palmer. It's like
Popping
there's so
up and
much
down
to
so
it.
fast after. It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's why it's so cool. There is a lot to think about on the fly while it's happening. You go in with your normal plan, because sometimes it does just go that way and you can get away with it. But as soon as something goes wrong, the instant something goes wrong, you're already trying to figure out how to redo it. Or like, how do I fix this to make this not the worst thing that's about to ever happen to me?
Especially once the big single worm shows up, his hitboxes are like so disjointed. So sometimes, I'm playing great, but
Yeah, I've been and the hitbox stays active. It's like the frame data must be nuts. Like if this was a fighting game, people would be losing their absolute minds seeing the frame data of that worm. You could get hit after the full swipe is completely done. You could still get hit by the worm as it's resetting itself straight up. It's not even attacking. It's literally just coming back up again, and then you'll get hit for 50. I've been killed by that so many times, and it never doesn't make me mad.
I like this nice Manhattan apartment. Looking pretty good.
This is your standard Soho apartment. I see no problems here.
Yeah, no, 3,000 a month. 3,000 a month. 3 months first and last rent, security deposit, no pets.
Yeah, dude, don't want to mess up the carpet.
Yeah, it's got central heating though.
He got a nice big vent for the trash fire fumes. Good ventilation.
Simultaneously burn your trash and warm your home.
Yeah, it's like composting.
Doing it.
But yeah, they like my Maeda's literally watching television. Like, why are they lighting a trash fire? There's no way they don't have heat in here. Like, they evacuated the city like a few hours ago.
And there's like 40 bottles everywhere, so dude has clearly had a very long night.
The average New York life.
Yeah. It's like 7 empty 40s, a trash fire. Yeah, and 30 rounds of ammunition.
Yeah.
At least they've got a bookshelf.
Yeah.
Struggled to put it together, but at least they've got a bookshelf.
Yeah, this situation does not mean that you cannot be learned and educated at the same time.
I'm also noticing, is that bed held up by rocks?
To me, right? Trash bags put into a sheet.
Yep.
This is honestly my favorite scene of the game, because it is just every time you look at it, if you want to look a little harder, you'll find something
so funny
about it.
Yeah.
There's something weird about it every time.
And I got to imagine they were like, "Listen, evacuate the town," and the dude who lived there was like, "All right, cool," and just like destroyed his apartment. Like, well, I don't understand how the you know what I mean? Like, it's clearly meant to display like this is kind of, you know, this is the atmosphere of the city, and things are real dark and gloomy, and power is shoddy, and you know what I mean? It gives you that vibe, but it's like, why? All you had to do was leave. You know what I mean? Like, Eve didn't knock the power centers down or something. Why is it like? Why do you live like this?
It's like that meme of Goofy's child and then the other lady Goofy. I don't actually know any other names about Disney.
Yeah.
But it's like,
you live like this?
For 1998.
Time to evacuate the city. And that guy was like, "Cool, my apartment sucks anyways."
All right, bet. Get me out of here. I'll go back to my family in Connecticut.
The home of the dumpster fire.
And then just like the icing on the cake of the situation, there is a perfectly functional couch in that room, and Maeda just comes out and sleeps on the sidewalk in the snow.
He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go sit outside on the floor. If you need anything, you can come find me. I'm like, what, bro? That seems like a very dangerous idea.
It's just truly a situation of all time.
Oh yeah, don't forget Daniel, the trained firearms expert and police officer.
Lily goes, "Get out of the way, Aya." First of all, she takes 3 steps more in front of the door, and then Daniel's like, "All right, good enough," and then shoots it anyway.
She's like, bro!
What are you doing,
Angelina
man?
Jolie's that bad boy right around it. Straight wanted.
This is a good part. This is what you get out of this game. Like, yeah, there's a lot of cutscenes, and maybe it's not the most exciting thing when you're actually speedrunning it, but it's the simple joys of watching everything that's actually happening that really do it.
It does give you a lot of time to interact with chat and stuff like that, which I do enjoy about my speedruns. So, you know, there's some good and bad.
Yeah, that's honestly my favorite part about running RPGs is just being able to yap the whole time.
Sit there and mash X and, you know, talk to the homies about whatever, and kind of ignore that this is going on.
Did I get YOLO tool and I didn't realize?
Looks
I must
like.
have.
Watching.
Yeah, we were too busy. Who pays attention to the game they're
I mean,
speedrunning?
The tool menus and stuff, like when you're hitting those boxes, it can pop up and go away so fast that if you're not like actively looking to see what it is, that you'll just not know. You know.
Yeah. I had to because I definitely like I did the normal others whatever. The sound looks like we did. Which is good. It just gives us a little more offense early into the run. For when Shiva kills us anyway. So I'm actually normally what we do here is just come into this place and leave immediately. I'm just taking a quick little detour to grab another revive because like when I say that Shiva is the scariest thing in this game, the boss at the end of this day, I am not even remotely kidding. So we'll have 2 revives for that. The worst part about Shiva too is also there is no good place to save before it. Like it's a short jog, but it's way out of the way.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. The more you do these marathons, the more I remember where all the phones are in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's one in the normal office where like I would assume Aya and Daniel's desks are. There's a phone in there, and then there's a phone. And then there's a phone like on the 3rd floor, 2nd or 3rd floor. I don't remember exactly. But you have to fight You have to fight an extra fight to get there. And you could get the fight again on the way back out.
And I think there's yeah. I remember it being like I think there's like a pickup you can get in there too, like some medicine or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think I've only been to that room once, maybe.
Yeah. Because we haven't actually talked about the ability to get fights an additional time on screens that you're traversing, because we have yet to traverse the same screen twice. But day 3 is the first time where we'll end up doing
major element of the gameplay for sure. Funny too that you mentioned that it doesn't really start happening till day 3, but it ends up being a lot of like the decider between a lot of the top runs. It's just straight up like, what are your encounters?
Yeah. And like if you're playing casually, you're absolutely going to be running back and forth through screens and stuff, just in the context of the speed run. We don't encounter it. There's a lot of hair in my mouth. So, I just noticed I was like trying to get it out of there because I've been drinking my coffee still. I got something with a straw to help mitigate the... This is totally real.
I wake up in the morning and pour my coffee, and I spend a good couple minutes like fishing the little hairs out of it sometimes, you know what I mean? Like that's that animal life.
The Palmer Zoo.
Palmer, you don't have to live like that anymore.
I can leave my Soho apartment.
The big city dreams. Yeah,
Maeda is an interesting character, though. I didn't really take a shine to him at first, due to the fact that he basically just stuffs things into your inventory at very inconvenient times. But really interesting character.
Yeah,
He's
and
a
those things
shy
he
boy.
gives you are considered key items, so you can't just dump them. You have to like put them into your storage if you truly want to get rid of them, which we will be doing when we actually get back to the police station here with the ones we currently have. But Maeda essentially is like the glue that puts together this game's story and relates it back to the original book where this game is based off of. As he came here from Japan to try and like stop from what happened in Japan from happening here. And
For what it's
now
worth,
we
if
use
you're
the world's
interested in reading the book or watching the movie, highly recommend if you're a fan of the series. It's very different. It's very odd, but it's just a cool thing to say that you've seen if you're a fan of Parasite Eve in general. And you can actually watch the movie for free in the same 240p resolution as this game on YouTube. So
you get to live the full experience.
it is an interesting movie. I've seen it a couple times, and it is a hoot. But it's very different from the game, so don't go into it expecting to have a lot of loose ends tied up for you, because they very much continued off that story with the titles of the game. So chronologically, they clearly happen, at a later date.
Yeah. And then there's other things that relate the stories that kind of connect them in like minor details and Easter eggs and stuff like that if you know the book story and then put it together with this one. But yeah, basically Maeda is here to tie them together in a sense.
He's warning us of
city's
essentially the
evacuated.
same kind of problem that's happened in Japan, and he comes over and is like, I just came here to make sure it wasn't happening here, but he's too late. So thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Maeda.
Yeah, it's already happening, bud. But glad you're here. Glad you're on our side. But, we're back in Hans Klam's office because I think Maeda was like trying to look for equipment to like demonstrate the stuff we were just looking at. And for some reason, even though the entire city's evacuated, Clamp is still here. Nobody actually seems to care about that. More than hey, what are you doing here? And he's like, I need to work. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. And then they just kind of keep going about their day.
Clearly, you look around his office and see he's defining the science of whatever he's got going on, doing real stuff.
And then Daniel here notices on Clam's computer that he has a list of everybody's names and family members on his computer, and they get mad about it, and they still just leave without doing anything. They're just like, yeah, this guy has a list of our names for whatever reason. It's still chill, though. He's just a scientist.
You're literally the police, by the way. I mean...
Yeah. And it's like their specific family.
Arrest him?
Like,
you know what I'm saying? That's clearly identity theft. There's fraud or something going on. That's your social security number right there, bro. Do something about it.
But yeah, we're like, whatever, man. Enjoy your list and science. We'll leave you be. We got to go back to the police station.
They're like, I'm suspicious of that.
Yeah, you think? But back we go. We'll finally start playing the game again. After a short little cutscene more. I just looked at the time for the stream, like the timer on the stream, and I was like, 30 minutes? What? And then I remember the whole thing happened. That's how goldfish brain I have. I forgot that we just like stopped playing for a few minutes while we fixed the stream. Here we go. Here's one of the first instances like Kios was talking about that we get random charm from Maeda. Honestly, ever since I we did a Suikoden 2 run in RPG Limit Break 2 years ago, and GK was hosting for a little bit of it, and ever since he's made fun of me for not knowing how to pronounce Japanese names, every time I have to say one, I'm like self-conscious about it, because I know I'm still not saying it right, but I think about it all the time. So shout out to GK for giving me anxiety about pronouncing names. Here we are back in the armory of the police station, and unfortunately our pal Torres here got into it with one of the dog men and is dead. And an interesting thing about Torres's character is that he doesn't actually like guns. Being the person who's in charge of the armory, he doesn't like using them. Yeah, give me a second. I don't want to mess this menu up. And I did it anyway.
He actually, it's funny that he has such deep lore because yeah, he doesn't like firearms because there was like I believe his son or a kid or someone in his life was killed with a gun, and he's very anti-gun violence. So he chose this position to kind of make a difference and whatnot. I'm like, why do I know this so much about you, man? I talked to you twice. He doesn't even have eyeballs.
All right, and
Worth mentioning is that you'll obviously no pre-rendered backgrounds in this. That is really nice for aesthetics, but you'll notice RJ having to move certain ways to dodge like invisible walls and stuff like that on occasion.
Man, that crow was slow coming to the party.
yeah, he does that sometimes. You know what? I'm gonna do that. Just grab a couple of extra medicines for now.
May as well.
Yeah. Most of the time there's gonna be junk in that, and I just ignore it completely, but, you know. A little extra. We have 2 revives and extra medicines I would never actually take in a run, so... Will we live? You'll get to find out. Actually gonna...
Because apparently
Pharmacy
Warner
on us,
isn't
we are good.
R.I.P. legend.
Here we go. We kind of get like the foreshadowing to what is inevitably the boss fight of the day. Ben is trying to follow. Shiva is actually trying to get away from Ben because Shiva, being the good doggo that she is, knows something is wrong with her, and she's like, I need to go away from this child. But Ben, being a child, is just kind of not figuring that out himself. Luckily for us, we actually skipped both of the refights of this day, so we still have yet to talk about that. But that's a good problem.
Yep.
In this day especially, if you could just dodge all of them here and in the hospital and get them all in the museum, that would be a nice day.
So one thing, we actually didn't get a lot of defense ups for our armor, so we could take some heavier hits in certain fights. It normally doesn't make like too big of a difference, but I don't know. You never know. It could. We only had 2
At least
defense
we got
ups out of
new
a
armor,
possible
though.
5. We did get new armor. We did get an upgraded CM vest. So now we do have an armor on that will proc our medicines if our health is low enough without us straight up dying. Because a caveat to the auto healing is that it happens at a threshold, but if you're above that threshold and take enough damage to die, you still die.
Why Shiva is such a pain, because her abilities are actually very, very well positioned to snipe you outside of those healing ranges. And it just kind of makes that fight a little bit more chaotic as a result. She's not like fight-wise strategy difficult. In fact, she's very easy. But the risk comes from the fact that she can just hit you outside of those healing ranges. You can also forget to equip the vest sometimes, and then just get mobbed by these little goo guys right here.
Yeah, who would do that? on
I've
RPG
never
limit
done
break?
that, ever.
Done that so many times, man. I cry.
It's so obvious when you do it too. You know, the first spider comes up, hits you for 80, you're like, oh no, I've made a terrible mistake.
For half your health, and you're like, oh no.
You're like, uh-oh.
This game doesn't have it has a flee mechanic, but it's very odd the way that the flee mechanic works in this game, and it's definitely not consistent or useful. Not in terms of speed and whatnot. So, yeah, if you accidentally go into a fight without equipping your gun or your armor, it could be a very long fight.
Then And then, funny enough about that, so one of the newer strats that we have that a runner Morningcraft, I'm sure some of you all know who Morningcraft is, currently the world record holder of the game. He actually found a fight in Central Park that is like you can run away from pretty consistently. I mean, you always have the luck of actually getting away, but when you do get away, it doesn't actually affect too much. So, but it could be a big time save. So there is a fight in Central Park that you can run from, but it's kind of risky, so I didn't bother. So, some minor new developments still happening all the way in 2025 for a game that has a lot not happening in it as far as avoiding. Oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was nice.
So we have this tool. I'm pretty sure I don't actually have a gun to use it with. I'm not gonna do that now because that's not the gun we're normally using. I don't want to mess up my tool situation.
Ratman.
There we go.
Yeah, no, those fights went really smooth. You got nice
it wasn't bad.
bunching.
I'm just gonna get rid of this real quick, and I'm actually gonna use a couple. I know I want to keep some of these, but I don't want all of these. But yeah, those were pretty smooth fights. I did get slowed at the end of the spider fight, but it was... Fortunately, there was only a tiny bit of the ATB left, and we ended up winning the fight after that, so we didn't have to wait for a whole slow ATB for the next turn. Alright, but here we go. Here's Shiva. There you go. Half our health. There is a hit that Shiva could do that will literally kill us. Didn't do it. Still not completely safe. You'll notice that we have a really okay, there we go. That's nice. We have a pretty solid strategy of literally standing still and just shooting.
Yep.
There
good.
really
Shiva
much
healed.
you can do. Yeah, we're hoping we don't see too much healing, or that maybe we pepper our shots correctly. Alright, one head did die, so we're not like in terrible shape here. There we go, an empty turn, that's nice. Another head's dead, so we should be in the clear here, hopefully. Okay, yeah, there we go.
Hey! Excellent. Nice and
I
clean.
do know that now that we have another tool, we can actually take Shiva's gun for some stats. That was actually a pretty decent fight, even with the 2 heals. One of the things actually, so the gun we're currently using, we used to change the rate of fire from 5 to 2. We opt for the offense. Like we said, we've made it like a more offensive switch, so we actually don't change the fire rate. So when Shiva's actually healing a whole bunch, burning through your ammo with just particularly this gun is actually somewhat relevant now. So aside from the fight just taking longer because Shiva's healing, you are like roasting through your your ammo really fast. So you don't want to see that either. But we should be okay. As like one thing you learn from playing the game, the experience you get is to not miss shots as much.
Mm-hmm.
So you won't like end up wasting as much ammo passively. But yeah, that was pretty clean. We didn't die, so that's all we could really ask for.
Even in 1998, ammo was expensive.
It sure was. All right, we know once the police officer talks on the right side that Daniel goes and then we can move. And then a thing about the game that we never really touched on that's like a minor thing about it is that you could always be moving on basically every single screen before it starts loading. Or before it's fully loaded and you can see, like, you're loaded in and can move, is what I'm trying to say in 1,000 extra words. But it's good to know where you're going ahead of time, because you can actually start making some progress on screens before you would even be able to see.
Yeah, it's a non-zero amount of time. It's almost minutes, I would say. Like if
it does help quite a bit.
Yeah. Again, the notes also point that out. Hold up.
I am fully confident that if you have even if you maybe if you've not never played it, but if you've even still, I'd still say if you've never played this game, you could take those speedrun notes and make it through the game. I am fully confident. It explains itself very detailed. Because I had played the game before prior to speedrunning it, but it was like at the time probably like over 10 years before that, and I didn't actually know what I was doing to start, and I was able to 12-hour challenge it. We got our though, and then the thing about the game, at least for the rest of the game from here on out, is the exposition at the beginning and end of scenes is a little less than the first 3 days.
Mhm.
So we have this little bit of talking here, but we're about to go right to where the next dungeon, I'll say, is. We're gonna go to a hospital.
Yay!
Because based on what Maeda knows about what happened in Japan, he has thoughts about where Eve will end up going in the city, and he has reason to believe that she'll be at this hospital. And maybe there's some reports that come in too. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember exactly what is said, but I do know that we assume to come here based on Maeda's knowledge of what happens in Japan.
I mean, it wouldn't happen to have any other significance. Like, I don't know, we had a transplant operation as a kid at this hospital.
Well, you know, you're grasping at straws a little bit there, I think, but you might be onto something.
Maybe. Oh, you better take that, though. It's dangerous out there. Here, have this.
Here, have this thing that's not useful at all to you. Thank you, buddy. Grab a tool. I'm gonna actually go ahead and this. Oh, I'm in BP. I was like, what am I looking at here? M11. Get rid of the extra tool and Shiva gun that we took. Just a little bit of a little extra stats that you could take.
You know, I mean, that's where I also keep my gunsmithing tools, in a closet in the lobby of the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Standard. So we were trying to go up higher in the higher floors in the hospital, look for Eve. Eve knows we're here and sabotaged the elevator and sent us to the basement. So now we're gonna have to run around the basement trying to fix it so we can go back up. Because yes, there are stairs, but they also get destroyed. That hasn't happened yet, but it will.
Yeah. Eve waits until we get there.
Yeah.
She also cut the power, which is incredibly rude of her. But yeah, this room is also pretty neat, as it also contains a grenade launcher. You know, grenade launchers in zoos, grenade launchers in hospitals. America in this time period, very equal opportunity for grenade launchers.
Equal opportunity grenade launch nation.
Yeah. One of the things RJ did grab, though, is the fuses. One of the puzzles we're dealing with now is the power has been cut to the hospital. However, we can't turn back on the main system without gathering the fuses, obviously, because someone not only cut the power, but took all the fuses, too, I assume. Or they're just blown, and they've decided to put them in 3 separate places.
Honestly, this is just horror game stuff. Like, every time the power's out, there's always extra fuses in random places. That's just how it works. Here we go. I promise we're going to fight something soon. In this room, even.
Oh, yeah. We also have to collect colored key cards, another horror game classic.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, an introduction to day 3 enemies. Very heavy on poison. You've got the Octogoop as well as Jeff Goldblum in The Fly. Another classic horror movie reference.
That's okay. We got slowed a little bit there.
One of the cool concepts about this fight as well is that you can actually, RJ was kind of doing it right there. You can stand in such a way on the poison pods that the bee enemy can't actually reach you. And if that enemy can't get close enough hitbox-wise to trigger its attack, then it will just kind of sit there infinitely. So you can kind of position yourself in a way that an enemy is between you and the enemy trying to move towards you and prevent them from doing anything, which is,
Yeah,
it comes up a
unfortunately,
few times in this area.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get it too well, but it's based on this guy, these little, poison amoeba guys, not moving too much and or not moving as erratically, and they got me.
Everyone's staying kind of close here. That's good. A lot of personally my time losses in this area is just these fights not going wrong, but enemies just not grouping up the way you need them. Unfortunately, with the random targeting, sometimes it's great. Sometimes it is just not. I would love to unload 5 shots at the enemy that has decided to crawl all the way across the screen, so I do no damage or 4.
I'm just gonna make sure I actually picked this fuse up. Okay, yeah, because one of the things why we don't, I was just gonna say why we don't actually take a bunch of stuff in our inventory is honestly this screen. We skipped a fight here. That's nice. Is because this place we have to pick up so many things between the menu we want to do and the fuses we need that it's really easy to fill up your inventory really fast. Like we saw there, I actually couldn't pick up a key item, and if you're not paying attention, you'll think you picked it up because there's only a small difference in what it's trying to tell you, and you'll leave it here and have to come back and get it. And then running through some of these screens again offers the opportunity of getting fights again.
Small slip up like that can cost you whole minutes because it's like, oh, let me backtrack. Oh, I got another fight. Oh, I got that same fight as I was trying to leave. You know what I mean? So it's like it can really balloon really badly. And totally to RJ's credit, like,
hey,
you can, wow. You can sometimes not even know that you picked up or failed to pick up something because the game doesn't say, like, there's not a sound or anything. It's just like, hey, you didn't get it. And then the box will close. You know what I mean? Like,
so RJ getting decent luck here. That chest before he entered this room used to be kind of this is many years ago, but the decider of, do you have a run or not? The micro Uzi or M10.
And we actually got the micro Uzi, which is the better of the 2 options. Ooh, look at her.
Both are viable now, by the way.
Classic. So the this enemy right here is like the bane of the speedrun existence, purely because it does 2 things. The first is that it has a move that will slow you and like half your ATB / movement speed. And then it'll do another thing where it bounces these balls across the screen. So because our gun targets randomly, an enemy that creates more targets on the screen and slows you is basically like the worst thing you could imagine.
Yeah, it's like the actual problem. So we have all 3 of our fuses. We're going to fix the fuse by doing a 360 fuse entry here.
No scoping.
Yeah, 360 no scope fuse fixing. And this game is really funny in the sense that, like, if you connect the wire, or if you turn the power on before connecting the wires, you can't actually fix it. It like knocks her out. The game is goofy like that.
I honestly was so scared because the game is not afraid to like just end your playthrough. Like it'll kill you and be like game over, right? So I was always terrified that like that was like one of those sneaky game overs because they got some in here.
Yeah. Thankfully, she has enough electrical resistance that, connecting a 480 kVA, she'll be all right. She'll run through it.
She got back up afterwards.
Yeah, at this point, she's like a borderline superhero with the powers she has. So, what's a little electricity, right?
This is a good example of a room that that Kios was kind of referring to, where like because you have random targeting and the depth of the actual screen is quite wide, and depth perception in this game can be kind of hard to judge. Sometimes the enemies can just spread out to an area where you can't actively hit all of them, regardless of how you position. So you're seeing RJ do his best to kind of position advantageously in a spot that no matter where his gun targets, he's likely to do max damage or at least hit the enemy he's trying to hit.
Yeah, it's one of those like more of the finer kind of nuances as you get more familiar with the run, just kind of building that sixth sense of where are the enemies likely to move, where would be my optimal position. And it's sometimes you get lucky, they don't really move around too much. Sometimes they're all over the place like a toddler, just back and forth all the way around in circles.
Armadillos in the museum can get really out of hand.
Yeah, they can. One thing I noticed when I went into that fight just there is how low my health was, and like that dog man specifically has like an energy ball attack that it does, and it could easily hit into the 60s and kill you. So I was a little worried there, but the dog man died first, and I was like, all right, fine. Not that we don't have
I've
two
been
revives.
sniped by that before.
Oh
I've
yeah,
been
it's
sniped. It can definitely do it.
It's legit. You go in there with like 50 health and he just windmill slams an energy ball on your face and you die.
But it like bounces
once
all
we made it
across
to
the
this-
room and it can be hard to dodge.
Yeah, and it's funny too because you'll move out of the way because you're like, he does just throw it like right in front of him and it's easy to dodge. But for some reason the dude just knows like that you're gonna move somewhere and the ricochet somehow still end up hitting you. I'm like, this guy is cracked.
Let me see. You know what? I think I actually
Full of
still
the
have
hitboxes that are a
ball
little
hit
too
player
big.
of all
I think when he throws that fireball little thing and it bounces around, you can think you're not close enough to it to be hit and still be hit by it because it's kind of one of
Yeah.
those classic Parasite Eve hitboxes.
Luckily for the most part, basically every single other enemy in this place doesn't do enough damage to like really threaten you, so you'll almost always proc your heals, but it is occasionally possible for the dogman to just assert itself.
And there is some element to like under the hood, you want to be burning your medicines advantageously so that you can be grabbing the stronger medicines. However, you don't want to leave your inventory so absent of medicine that it's getting filled up with like the curative M's and the curative P items that drop in here a lot. Because then you can have half your inventory with basically junk.
Yeah.
And they tend to drop that stuff all over. There's a lot of drops in the hospital in general, so your inventory fills up really quick.
Yeah, I keep an eye on the curatives I'm getting. Like in that fight, I got a cure P. We skipped that fight. And that one too. So not so bad. Only one refight so far is actually pretty good. Of course, it's in this run and not a run that, a PB attempt. But whatever.
What are you talking about? This is 54 minutes in.
I know. I'm gonna destroy.
This pace is crazy. Yeah, this pace is awesome.
I know one of the mods, so I'll get it verified.
We'll do the old school timing method.
I mean, the
Surely.
song is kind of a banger.
Sure. Throw the producer under the bus. I see how it is.
Hey, you're helping me out here.
Stitched run. Nice splice,
take it.
dude.
Large
yeah.
jelly.
He tricked me. I thought he was actually gonna do the. Jesus. Actually did the jump attack. I thought he was really gonna do the ball.
That enemy is scary to me because it can do a surprising amount of damage, and that screen is so small that you really have to like lead its movement in order to accurately dodge it. And then if it uses that giant poison ball, like that thing is the size of a beach ball, man. It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I happen to actually get hit on that first jump that I ended up not getting damage with, I could have realistically died to the second hit. That's why I was like, when it ended up doing the shake to jump at me, I was like, oh no, I've made a terrible error. But then I luckily still got away.
It juked. It made it look like it was gonna throw the ball, but
It really
he did a
I
little
was like,
shimmy and a hop. Yeah.
I don't think it ever hit me with a hezzy like that before.
Oh, this is one of, honestly, like, in terms of non-boss fights, one of my least favorite fights in the run.
Yeah, this is legitimately one of the worst screens of all time. All right, we should be okay though.
Yep.
We're gonna get slowed
Pretty
here,
good.
but I'm
That's
gonna
a pretty
actually...
good.
Ah! I picked the wrong thing because the ball came back. I'm an idiot. You win some, you lose some. Gosh darn it. But yeah, that should have been okay, because what I should have done is put the energy shot onto the Mixman instead. Oh no. But instead I made an error and shot the ball on the front. God, she's gonna make me pay for this. I
See,
know.
this is exactly what I was talking about earlier when I was talking
Yep.
about the Mixman. And one thing that I forgot to mention, part of the reason it's so bad is because what you just saw right there, your gun randomly targets. Well, let's say when you pull the trigger, you push the input, it's going to allocate 3 bullets to one enemy. Well, if that enemy dies on 1 bullet, it's not going to reallocate those to the enemies that are available. It's just going to stop. So in that case, you saw him fire 1 crit, kill the ball, and because all the other shots were destined for the ball, they just don't go anywhere else, and you just kind of waste a turn for more or less.
And then it grows another ball before your ATB is full.
Yeah, they grow faster than your
Perpetuating the
ATB
cycle.
fills. Yeah, yeah.
Good use of energy shot, though. We'll be seeing that a lot more as the run progresses. As IO levels up, it becomes more and more powerful.
A couple
Also,
of
the
pretty
classic,
cool.
I have to wait for the ball.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool parasite energy spells in this game. Like, we don't use a ton of them because of the, in speedrun, obviously we only do what's most optimal, but there's a lot of really fun, different magic, for lack of a better term, spells that she has at her disposal. Energy shot, liberate, you get later is super cool, but there's like haste and cures and all kinds of different things you can do with your parasite energy.
Yeah, now haste is tremendous. We'll be seeing some of that too. The ability to just almost free load your ATB bar is very nice.
Yeah, and because ATB is directly tied to movement speed in this game, when you haste, you also start running at demon speed. You know what I mean? 'Cause it's like your ATB is fast, so is your movement, so you can like really zip around. It's useful for fights like the Centipede, where there's like a lot of dodging and navigation that's required. This is the inventory battle. RJ's just making sure he's got what he needs to safely go into the next fight, while also getting rid of the curatives that are just going to kind of bloat up his inventory. He's about to go into the final, like, what is the big bad of this day. But in totality, I gotta think that it's like one of my favorite. It's like one of my. I enjoy seeing the spider because I don't fear the spider a whole lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty agreeable usually in most cases.
Yeah, the only thing that we're really looking out for as soon as the fight starts, if the spider moves towards us or if it moves away from us. If it moves away from us, we could be in for a really bad time because it is a spider and it has a web attack just like the other spiders, but it doesn't work the same way. If you happen to get slowed by this spider's attacks, you're stuck in place and cannot move. So the spider will move to parts of the screen where you just cannot shoot it. And if it moves far enough away, by time it's going to do one of its other attacks, it will just shoot more webs at you. I actually had this happen to me the other day where I ended up losing almost a full minute in this fight, which is almost inconceivable in most situations.
As longer
just
than the
got
fight takes,
stuck.
usually, yeah. Yeah.
So
and
hopefully it
what's
moves
interesting
towards
about
us.
the web,
Let's see.
you can use a cure
cool.
M to remove stiffness, which is what's applied by the slow/web or whatever. But that won't even help you because the web has like multiple layers. So if you accidentally move from where you're frozen, you can just get restuck in the same web. It's pretty it's pretty interesting.
It's also why we don't make any effort to pick up these curative items because they can only be used in battle, and most of the time you use them, the enemy just like does it to you again. And Aya does build up like a resistance to getting poisoned or stunned if it keeps happening repeatedly in a fight a little bit. But for the most part, this is exactly how the spider fight goes. You hit it a bunch of times, it just kind of dies.
Yeah, Palmer did mention it earlier with the inventory management. It is kind of important. Some of the boss fights, again, you can just kind of mash through at the end, and if your inventory is full, you won't pick up the certain drops. And sometimes they're pretty darn important. I think is this one we need, and T-Rex, I think, are the ones you can.
We don't need the gun from here. We definitely need the gun from T-Rex later. But we don't.
Once upon a time, we used the spider gun like a long time ago for menuing, and thankfully now, thankfully the amount of menus where you can like really cost your run by screwing a gun up or not picking something up, I think is really just T-Rex now. Yeah, if you don't pick that one up, you're in big trouble.
Yeah. I honestly can't even imagine. That would just be so bad.
Talking about like you've doubled the length of the end section, probably at least.
Also, shout outs to this wonderful, if you're not paying attention, surprise game over screen.
Yeah, those planes we saw in the cutscene that Eve took out the pilots in are actually headed for the rooftop of this building. And if you don't know to run to this random scaffolding in this corner off screen, and the planes hit the building, you get a game over straight up. It's one of my favorite things to watch people go through casually. Because luckily there's a
this is the casual killer. This is so funny to watch people stream.
Yeah, almost every single person dies. It's so funny.
This is the first spot you die, and then there's the second spot everybody dies at that comes later. So the game is not short on just like sneaky game overs. You know what I mean? It's no stranger.
Yeah, this one too, because you have to stop the cart, otherwise you smash into the ground.
And if you don't, if you actually like try to explore and like run to maybe the right side of the top of the hospital, just because you're trying to figure out how to exit. That can actually you can be too far away from that point to then make it to the correct side in time. You know what I mean? So like the timing is pretty tight if you're a casual player and you're really trying to figure out like, all right, what side of this hospital am I supposed to jump off of? And it really didn't even tell you that much. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't be totally out of the question to attempt to like run back to the door that you came out of and go like back downstairs, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, I also died on the roof casually. I feel like there are two kinds of people in the world: people that have died on the roof after the spider fight, and liars.
Yeah, I can almost assure that the first time I played this game, I died there.
I was following Premis's notes, so I had an unfair advantage. But I did die first just because I wanted to see what happened at the next one. You know that we're you know what I mean.
Yes. So we got a little more dialogue before the end of day 4 here, and we're about over halfway of the game. But the day 5 takes up the most of the speed run, like without questions, about 50-some minutes of the speed run just.
Yeah, itself. It's a third of it or something usually, but it's also like it doesn't feel long usually when you're running it, unless you're like really close to PBing or something and every second matters. But like it's a fun section where like the enemies and stuff have a little bit more variation than the things we've seen up to this point. So
yeah,
I just wish the museum was a little more consistent because it's a fun spot.
Yeah, and
day 5 is
broken
those really
up,
long hallway rooms.
Oops. Not paying attention. Accidentally went back in.
The museum is also one of the other things. Like this game casually, like we've been discussing, has its like cheeky little death animation scenes. The museum also is one of the other things this game enjoys, which is hiding items out of sight.
Yeah. We're going to see that a little bit right on this screen too. This is actually an optional thing that we're doing. This is an entirely optional area, but because we got the micro Uzi, we can make a quick little detour here. Where is
To
it?
save more time.
There it is. I was like, I
Kind
can't
of,
hear the speaker well,
piggybacking
so.
off of that, there's actually a lot of secret rooms in like basically every place. There's a secret room in the police station and the hospital. There's a couple of them in the museum. So there's
Warehouse.
floor. Also has a bunch of like trivia question kiosks that you can like answer different trivia and get items out of based on like different information that you've acquired throughout the game, or that if you read the text and whatnot. So yeah, there's a lot of fun, wacky stuff going on.
So the thing we went out of our way to pick up there is a gun upgrade called Quick Draw, which we didn't proc. This is the third straight time in a row where I've gotten Quick Draw, and the very first fight didn't proc.
Ugh.
But what it does is it gives you... Dang, we're a little far away. Yeah, that reload was cringe. But what it does is it gives you a chance to start every fight with a full ATB. And the idea is that going out of the way for it, the number of times that it procs will more than make up for going out of your way to get it. See, like, here we go, full to start.
Really, really useful at like the beginning of Centipede, right? Where you can like fire off a shot and then haste on the second turn and know that you're gonna hit the split perfectly. So it has its advantages. You pretty much always want a run with Quick Draw, if you can help it, which is why the Uzi is so important, because the M10 doesn't have the equipment slots to be able to house it, which is why that gun ends up being slightly slower.
That's my ammo. I'm actually gonna just try to not make this as painful as possible in reload. So the next fight we're going into is just such a pain in the butt. This whole next little segment is a pain.
The sewers, by far, least favorite area. Least favorite area.
That. I hate this section. The bats, the centipede, like everything is just like, you're just here to make my day worse. And the two encounters that you can just get, they're awful.
Yep.
I don't even remotely get excited about a speedrun of this game until I'm past the centipede and the sewers.
Yep. Yeah, sometimes sewers aren't bad. These are particularly nasty, as we'll see. The main enemies you'll find down here are bats. Bats are cool. We love bats. They're sky puppies. However, these bats inflict you with darkness, and it literally reduces your accuracy to 0. It is awful.
It's horrible. And one of the caveats of the game is that you don't actually get a curative for an affliction status until you fought an enemy that actually applies that status, right? So we're going into these bats with no having access to anything that can cure the darkness, blindness, whatever you want to call it, until we've defeated them the first time. So from that point, we usually will hold on to 1 or 2 of them just to have. But if you get caught right out the gate with that blind, you can sit there for a good 5 or 6 turns just running in circles. And as soon as it wears off, you have to hope it doesn't get reapplied by one of the bats that you failed to kill while you were blinded. So yeah, and on top of that, the screens that RJ is about to traverse can give you encounters. It's one of the only screens in the game where like you don't have to have taken the encounter first. It's just a chance encounter. And one of them is really bad.
This one.
Yep.
We skipped it! Yay!
Woo!
Merry Christmas, everybody!
Let's go.
Woohoo!
Yep.
It doesn't
The
exist.
other thing that's tough is there's just not a lot of room in these areas either when you get shoved into an encounter.
Yeah, 100%. And because like the actual width of like the little cure or of the darkness, like I don't know, what is that, like an echo channel or whatever that animation is, but it's very wide, right? Like it's a huge fan shapes.
It's another one of those things where the frame data would do immense psychic damage to you if you could actually see it.
It is you can be on the outside of those circles and be blinded for sure.
And there's a tail to it that is much longer than the actual shape of it, so you could run behind it and still get hit by it. It's just, I don't know.
And so the first fight we're talking about being so bad that he skipped, that fight can add straight up like 45 to 60 seconds, just for because you took it. Like that's like you can straight up lose like PB or world record paces just as a matter of like you got that fight.
Yep.
Because they blind, they poison. It's 4 enemies. It's awful.
Just the worst. But honestly, as far as the sewer goes, that was extremely clean.
Yeah, I would take
good,
one of
my
those
friend. Hell
every
yeah.
time.
Fights were very unproblematic. I am watching my own PB just so I can keep track, which I'm glad I am now because
Excited for if quick draw procs on the centipede, we could have a real clean centipede as well. So,
and
heck yeah.
honestly, we're still sitting on 2 revives, so we should go in feeling pretty okay.
Yeah, you can definitely be a bit
20
aggressive
minutes
if
ahead.
you need to.
Yeah. Yeah, if we die, it's no big deal. I'll just start the game over. It's fine.
Yeah, no, we've touched on it, but for 1998, this is like the pre-rendered backgrounds were gorgeous, the animations were like it was impressive for 2 discs on PS1.
I'm a big
What it's worth, Daniel's wife is somewhere amongst that goo pile.
Yeah, it's true. That's why I refer to the entire goo pile as Lorraine. Just taking my time here. This menu is like the literal least tactile feeling menu in a video game that I have ever experienced.
Oh, it's so clunky. I always confuse myself on it, even if I'm like slow.
Because for an input to bring the menu up like in between the loads, it's and then you can accidentally hit it twice. Yeah, it sucks.
And then you have to turn it off, which is on the very first menu. It's so easy. What? Why did it just go in a second time? I didn't even hit it 2 times.
Yep.
That was weird.
You run out there and then it's like, oh, the goo is blocking my way. You have to re-drain it, and it's like, are you kidding me, bro? How many buttons I gotta hit?
And then you have to turn it off when you're done, and it's really easy to you could just keep going back into turning on the specific pumps that we turn on, so it's really easy to just get caught in a loop of bashing too much.
Cool speed tech here. You can skip an encounter if you run past that first column.
Yeah, it puts us onto this screen. There is a screen below it too.
Yep.
Okay, hold on, let's check.
You can actually go, so RJ is going up the left side path you're seeing. You can actually go up to the centipede through both sides of the tracks, but the right side of the tracks has a bigger enemy encounter that we would obviously prefer to avoid.
Stop.
And this little mole man, he actually gives a decent amount of EXP and can sometimes drop what does he usually drop? Cure P, I think, something like that.
Yeah, Cure P or.
But right after him, you got that chest that is very valuable. So coming this way is obviously in our best interest. That being said, the little mole man, as you just saw, he can be a troll. He can like go up under the ground and then reappear slightly out of your range, and like that fight can cost you a few seconds on accident for no reason.
Man, he hits hard too.
I'm gonna actually do
very far away, dude. His arm extends like Gumby arm. He like reaches super far.
I think it was yesterday, I actually got killed by that mole because he has a really strong hit as well. I came in here with lower than 80 health and he popped me for like 87 and just straight up killed me.
Yep, he can be a surprise.
Across the screen.
Ooh, quick draw, let's go.
Oh, bummer.
Oh,
I didn't see that shadow. It was like perfectly behind its head.
So now you're going to see haste get used, and you're going to see his ATB and movement speed be accelerated. But part of the reason he used it at that specific time is so that he can time this split perfectly. Well done, well done. So by timing that split like that, only one piece is actually targetable when it's doing that initial split. So if you can get that input off fast enough, all the bullets will go to that one target, usually killing it, which means you're left with just 3. So you saw RJ immediately open up with, the energy shot or whatever to kill the one of the others, and then you're just left with 2. So getting rid of the enemies on the screen, obviously, when your gun targets randomly, very, very optimal. And RJ pretty much cleaned it up as well as you can right here. This fight is going incredibly well.
Yeah, no,
Nice,
that's
great fight,
what
man.
it's supposed to look like. That's wonderful.
Micro Uzi.
2 revives, still in the pocket. Everything's looking sharp. Well done.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to take that a little slow because I did not have a lot of health going into there.
Yeah.
That poison right out the gate, like that poison hurts, man. It is very
it's bad.
strong.
The speed at which it ticks damage on you is just wacky. It's so brutal.
Also, shout outs
Have the
to the
CM
worst
vest.
disc
I don't know how
change
you would
I've
actually
ever
do it.
seen.
So, like, I guess if you're playing casually and you don't have the vest that heals you in that fight, and you do get hit by the poison, you're just using like what, basically every turn to heal yourself, because like it ticks
pretty
very
much.
fast.
There you go. Disc change. We're playing
After
on
a random
PS.
cutscene, not even a full cutscene.
It's always
Yeah.
a funny spot to me too, because it's like you got about 10% left of the game, and they just couldn't fit it on the one disc, I guess. 46 megabytes on that second disc.
Oh, the return of the Mole Man.
Dang, got a QRP. That's all right. Not really worried about it.
Yep, we do have ice bullets now.
It does
which
give
are
a decent
pretty
amount of
interesting.
EXP,
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in
so
the
it's
world.
not, not the worst thing. Yeah.
And yeah, you'll notice that all of a sudden our gun is making some interesting noises for the rest of the museum segment here. We get to put from the gun that we get from Centipede. Well, let me make sure I go to the right place. There we go. The gun we get from Centipede gives us ice bullets that we could put onto the micro Uzi, which is another upgrade that we can't put on the M10, the other gun that we can get in the hospital. Really effective against 2 very common enemies in the museum here, the blue like raptor-like dinosaurs and the armadillos. But it comes with the very not ASMR friendly screech.
Yeah, it's
or
a
scratch
jarring.
noise.
It also looks messy, like when it hits. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, it is a bunch of. Yeah, but it is a. It is definitely like the crit difference on an armadillo is palpable. So
Yeah. I say that all the time. I was like, you might not notice it right away when you're fighting the blue dinosaurs, but when you're fighting the armadillos, you absolutely feel the difference between the 2 guns.
yeah, you feel it.
Oh, it's massive. Yeah, no, the museum.
Another thing that I guess
I love the museum.
we keep bringing up is EXP. At a certain point at the end of the museum, RJ will need to be level 33 or slightly higher, I guess. But because of that, there is very often that you get down to the last fight in the museum and you have to assess whether or not you need to take something extra. So the EXP route ends up being very, very important as things kind of come to a close.
Oh, you're such a jerk.
Ooh, that was
whatever. It's
mean.
fine.
Yeah, fight's over.
After listening to it for a bit, I'm pretty sure that's the limit break sound from FF7.
Oh yeah, it's the what is it? I'm pretty it does get Ryuga's. I think it's also a Blizzaga noise in some of the games.
Probably, yeah. It definitely is FF7 coded to the point where I'm like, what sound is that?
Yeah, for sure.
That's just something that is like, I keep bringing it up, but it's so cool to reiterate because it's like you can see so much of Final Fantasy VII, which had just come out before this title, and you can also see a lot of Final Fantasy VIII, which doesn't exist yet. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you can quite literally see it as the bridge game, even though when you play Final Fantasy, the series, you go from 7 to 8, you might not, that's a big leap. You're not going to see this nuance because Parasite Eve obviously is not included, but when you do get to play Parasite Eve, you really get to notice kind of like that bridge and character design and character models and
Movement.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Plus, you get Yoko Shimomura, who took a while to come back to Final Fantasy, but has been around tooling a lot of other Square works for what, 50 years, 40 years.
And here's the other armadillo enemies. Nice quick draw out the gate. Always feels good. okay, good. It actually didn't make it all the way. I thought it was gonna die. Nice. All med 4s. That's good to see. One thing in the museum that I don't know if we actually talked about yet, because I've been running around, is that a lot of the fights, they have like alternate versions. Like you could get one fight or another fight, to varying degrees of added or lessened experience. By the end of the museum. By the end of the museum, we want to be level 33 so we can have Liberate for the end of the game. And the fights you get do make a big difference. And there's a couple of different variations of fights that you could get in here. Like one that we already saw, the very first fight after the centipede was 2 blue dinosaurs. It's usually, for the most part, 2 green dinosaurs and a blue dinosaur. This one could be 1 or 2 blue dinosaurs. So I think 2 is actually the one that's less common.
Yep.
Oh, come on. But the good thing about most of the fights in here is that the enemies are either going to just be dumping ammo on us, which is great, or med 3s and med 4s. So once you get to this point and you're set up for the run, you're kind of just not trying to get pounded. I was about to say, it is possible for these armadillos to hit for like 162, so you could like get caught up by one and actually die. I've seen that a couple of times. But the other thing is the little green dinosaurs that we fight in a bunch of these fights are basically the crows of the museum. They're going to drop junk and med 2s, and we don't really want either. So any fight with a green dinosaur in it, I'm just automatically not taking anything that gets dropped from it. Because we will get more than enough ammo and med 3s from everything else. Oh, we're in the wrong way. Sometimes I forget what screen I'm on. Especially when we're yapping. But here we go. We get to fight not dinosaur pterodactyl. I have a friend who is very adamant about pterodactyls not being dinosaurs. And, you know, fair. Fair. So I won't do that to them. The other Kyo, as Kios will know.
Yes, other Kyo. Well, technically, I'm Kyo, so the fact that they are not here means they are other Kyo.
That's true. But the interesting thing about that pterodactyl in specific, it's a little different. It's all of the other pterodactyls in the game are going to drop med 3s. That pterodactyl, for some reason, drops a med 4. And has a little bit more experience, I think, than the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who know the actual experience numbers of the things in here a lot better than I do. This is a variation of the fight. This could either be one pterodactyl or these. We're not too disappointed about it. Like, these things are pretty easy to dispatch with ice bullets.
Yep.
But I actually do think one pterodactyl is more experienced than those two together. I could be making that up, though. But it's things like that that come into play for whether or not you'll hit the experience we want to hit by the end.
I think I've only come up short, like, maybe once, but, like, I think I also, like, had gotten none of the extra fights and, like, obviously low-rolled everything else.
Yeah, it's very possible to be short, and there's a couple of ways to fix that. And in very rare cases, I've actually been at a point where fighting extra fights was just going to take, like, I needed 2 or 3 extra fights.
Yeah.
And it was just going to take too long. That'll actually kill a run, too.
Yeah, I've gone into the final day at level 32 before, just because I was like, I'm very far away from leveling, you know what I mean? I'm just going to gas it. And you feel it. It stinks. It's not fun. It's
not
rough.
having liberate.
So you end up just probably bleeding the same amount of time, ultimately, anyways, which is unfortunate. Liberate is one of my favorite abilities in any video game I've probably ever played. It's so cool.
It's definitely cool.
It feels cool, and I love the fact that, like, while it's going off, not like everything's frozen. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
things are constantly moving on the screen, and you're constantly at risk. It's almost like a little breather when you get that ability off.
I love the notes while we're working our way through here. If you are level 32, you are in for a rough time. The only thing you can do here is shoot her when she's in range and try to keep haste up as much as possible. Although her slow will cancel haste. It's pretty rough, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really not fun not having. At this point we use Liberate in two of the three phases for Ultimate Being. We use it once for the final Eve, so we use it 3 times in the last, like, 6 fights.
And I'd use it more if you let me.
Yeah, if I could use it every single time, I probably would. This is like my least favorite screen in the entire museum.
This screen sucks. RJ actually ducked under that tent, by the way. I think there are a total of 3 chests hidden under there, and I never grabbed the right one first. Ever.
Yeah, you could grab
Ever.
I think there's like why isn't anything dead yet?
Yeah, it's a weird spot.
Well, at least they grouped up back here.
Pretty good. Yeah, you get kind of used to it because like as the armadillo gets closer to being killed, I think it starts hopping and sliding across the screen more. So you kind of just use that to your advantage and hang out around the pterodactyl.
That's like one of the, if not the biggest offender of like the depth perception issue in this game is that screen, because it is so much longer than it appears.
Hey, look at that, staying in the same place.
Yeah, that's why it's not. I don't know if it's always admin. Oops, I thought I was actually gonna kill it. One shot. It's. I like to energy shot something there sometimes just to hopefully keep 2 closer together because they could all 3 be spread out into Narnia and you won't be able to do literally anything. So I don't know, opt to get rid of 1, try to make my life a little easier.
Very important pickup in this room. It is another gun, but it doesn't go into our unholy matrimony of firearms related debauchery.
It's honestly one of the coolest little bits of tech that we use, and
it's super cool.
Brought to us actually by a Japanese runner of the game who doesn't actually even run the game. He just happened to find the tech because he was playing around with 100% route once, and it is fun because it's got a little bit of like a gamble-y to it, you know what I mean? Where it's like, come on, is it gonna hit? Is it gonna hit?
Yeah. It's specifically for one situation during the very last fight.
We did grab an M500, so far our weapon is a shotgun pistol AR platform that shoots ice bullets with a grenade launcher and shotgun attachment.
Yeah.
With quick draw.
And after playing this casually, we only come across and with good reason, because I think the burst mod is just busted, but you only come across 2 shotguns in the course of casual play, before the Chrysler building.
Soon it'll be a shotgun, Uzi, AR pistol that has 2 turns. So
yeah.
And that's basically like what every 15-year-old in Texas gets on their birthday.
This is not one of those games that people are like, oh, how would you describe America? I just show them this.
It's Parasite Eve.
It's Parasite Eve.
When the cop punches the reporter right at the beginning, that just sets the tone.
Don't give me the fight. Yay!
Yes!
Yay! This is a good fight to skip.
You might be cooking too much.
I know. I can't wait to go back to regular PB attempts because I will pay for these sins.
The double.
You're getting lizards. You're getting lizards right there tomorrow, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we actually, in my splits, actually saved time in that section,
Wild.
which is something.
Gold split. You love to see it.
We also love to see Maeda. Look
Yeah,
at
they're
him.
just chilling in here.
But not Clamp, who also happens to still be lingering for whatever reason.
Yeah, like where did he? Was he not? I just this whole scene is confusing to me because like
He
we're
just
in
like
here.
has been
Where does he
hiding in
come
the
from?
closet or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
Because
like,
remember, like when you first walk in, it's like, oh, what was that? And you see him like peeking at you from around the door. Like instantly,
yeah,
I'm leaving. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what? I'm out of here.
yeah.
That was some weird guy peeking at. I'm out. But nah, he was. I guess he just like lingers. He's like following you around the museum or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And he comes in here and he attacks us with a scalpel. And, you know, Daniel is going to come out and help us. But I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I has killed the most heinous mutated creatures in this city. And this regular ass guy with just a scalpel comes in and she's like, oh, what do I do? I don't
Don't
know,
worry,
shoot a
Daniel's
laser out
here
of
with
your
his
gun.
fists of fury.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
doesn't know how to handle anything not supernatural, which is why Big Daniel has to step in with the fists of fury. You know what I'm saying? That's not the first or last person he's gonna punch.
Maeda does give us a gun, though. I don't know where he got it, but thanks, buddy.
He's been carrying it this whole time, knowing him.
Giving us a lot of stuff.
Those pockets go deep.
He's got like a whole satchel or something in there because he's like, here's a charm, here's another charm. I'm like, you could have just given me all the charms for, initially. You know what I mean? Like you don't. Is he like bedazzling or he's like sewing them up or something as we go? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would
Yeah.
like to see these charms to get a better idea for kind of what the process is.
And Clamp goes full simp mode and combusts with Eve. Meanwhile, Maeda and Daniel jump out the second story of a museum building onto concrete steps below. They're fine, don't worry.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point out that we are on the second story of a museum.
Listen, they got knees of steel, unlike Geralt
mean-
of Rivia.
Daniel is my favorite anime character. That guy is a borderline unkillable, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he bends physics a little bit as well. He's different.
He's I don't.
He's the most
it's
powerful
probably not true.
non-supernatural entity in the Parasite Eve universe.
Is he based off of Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon?
I don't know. I do get a lot of Danny Glover vibes just in the way
When
they
did
like,
Lethal
their
Weapon
dialogues.
come out?
Late 80s or mid to late 80s.
Ow.
That was a rough hit, but
yeah,
again,
yeah,
good
I
This game was
honestly
what,
think that-
97?
yeah,
This game came
98.
out in 98. At least in the United States.
It's one of my favorite little things. Sometimes when the pterodactyl does that attack, it just doesn't render the animation, so you just get these black boxes on the screen. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've seen that before too. Yeah, it is silly.
And just so you know, this is a
Pterodactyl
Square game.
enemies
These are chocobo fossils.
Oh, there's your Final Fantasy connection.
And if you look at the
There you go.
museum itself as you're going into it, there is a chocobo on the flag outside that goes across the banner of the front of the museum.
All right, here comes the big charger. This enemy here, he can do a sneaky amount of damage for no reason with his little headbutt charge. So
Yep.
RJ's going to do his best to stand out of the way of that, or at least the multiple. Because what he does is he'll charge with one hit, and then if it does like 248 damage, all the other charges are going to do that same damage. So at the very least, try not to get hit by all of them, or hope it's really low deeps. So in this case, RJ's going to choose to haste so that he can get through that first phase as quickly as possible. And it'll also help him kind of move a little bit in case he needs to maneuver out of the way of something. The lightning attack you're seeing, if you actually stand right next to his head, it'll kind of curl around you. So you're going to see RJ trying to blend the gap of like staying away in case it wants to charge while also staying close to the head. But once that little skull is gone,
Oh.
the fight gets a lot more simple, a lot easier.
Yeah.
So looks like it is going well, my friend.
Yep.
Not terrible. Looks
You
good.
Nice
survived the
job, good
charge.
fight.
Basically, you just survived the charge part, and you're like, all right, we're fine.
Yeah, and the charge doesn't always do max damage. There's a lot of times it'll do like 108, 108, and then you're just getting healed, and it's not a big deal. But there's a little bit of click goes on just because you know that guy's got the potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, breaking the skull as quickly as possible definitely helps. If I recall, it should lower the amount of damage it can do.
Oh
with
yeah,
the
the charge does
Yeah.
like 10. It's like
Yeah, it
nothing.
drops. And then with his little less death rattle, he knocks you out of the window. And upon hitting the floor, you are healed to full.
It's the power of
That makes-
mitochondria.
Yeah, it's definitely the
That
power.
was weird.
It's definitely the power of mitochondria. That's true. Now let's see if this thing's a jerk to me. I don't know what my problem is, but for some reason I keep getting meleeed by this idiot. All right, there we go. That's what we want
This
to see.
fight-
Yeah.
This fight looks scary because it's a big old T-Rex, and it takes a little bit because he's got HP. But there's a lot of spots and things you can stand in order to kind of make his attacks come out a certain way and to kind of convince him to do certain actions. And thankfully, most of his attacks aren't too scary unless you get caught in like multiple instances of damage by like that fire breath. But as long as RJ, as you see, he's kind of standing on the back heels of the T-Rex, that's usually where you want to be. And then, as you saw right there, you kind of cross to the opposite side of where that fire was getting blown. So just kind of keeping your movement to those two places, kind of looping that, will usually keep you safe here. But it's also worth mentioning that energy shotting early is actually better here, because if you wanted to like energy shot to kill it, you could potentially be doing, let's say, 400 damage and it's only got 300 health, right? So we want to make sure that we're getting every drop of deeps we can, and we're not, wasting any damage.
There we go.
Great fight,
Not
man!
bad.
Great fight.
Clean.
And you got the gun.
I did not take the gun, so we're
we're
in
in
truly
good shape.
cooking. Not me, almost still messing it up. And then this into this. I'm just taking my time. I'm not. We've come so far. I'm just not gonna mess this up at this point.
Ain't worth
Yeah,
it.
there was a marathon I did actually where I messed up that menu, and it took a very long time to finish. It was
Okay,
painful and
so
embarrassing.
We do need to pay attention to. We have a chance to get 2 refights, and we hopefully will get one of them, because we are a little far away in experience. But we could still make this work. We'll be fine. It'll be fine. But we could just naturally get there still. So I hope that happens. All right, that's good. That's good. We'll see where we're at experience-wise after this one.
Such good. I will always love this soundtrack.
Oh, it's great. It just never. It's one of those that I don't ever get tired of hearing. All right, what are we at? I do need to force the scorpion fight in this room, unfortunately. We need to be at about 4,200 experience. We're at about 46. This scorpion gives about 2k almost. So this is completely extra, but if we want to have Liberate, it has to happen.
But thou must.
Whatever. So yeah, okay. Plenty fine. But we were also at an amount of experience that just doing that scorpion fight wouldn't have been enough. So we needed one of those refights as well. So that there you get to see honestly, the consequences of skipping so many refights is you probably won't have enough experience by the end. But
Yeah,
the
the
pistol is
perfect
really
world.
strong, so hopefully you could blast through the fights that you need to get that are extra.
Yeah, once you've post T-Rex, once you have like that really strong firearm, it makes it a little easier to just go blast the scorpion and move on. But there are some times when, like, yeah, RJ's mentioned that you can get just different fights. You can get the same amount of fights, but in different spots, like a couple in the hospital, a couple in the NYPD, and then none in the museum, and still be under, right? So like there is a perfect world of like, you really want to dodge every fight until the museum, and then just get the ones you need in the museum because they're worth the most amount of EXP. So you can, this is a good example. This run is a good example of how like that EXP route kind of all comes together, regardless of kind of like what the mixture of the encounters was. Here we have a little miniature movie. So,
Yeah, this is in fact an 11-minute cutscene. So saddle up.
mash through as well, so you can't even as the runner like get up and go do something, because in between like every 30-second scene there's like 3 lines of text you have to mash.
Yeah, there's like a small 2-ish minute break after the dialogue here, maybe a little less. I don't actually know the time. It's enough to go to the bathroom, I'll tell you that. But then as soon as that little cutscene is over, you're like alternating between a 30-second FMV, 2 lines of dialogue, another minute FMV, 2 more lines of dialogue. It's something.
Yeah, the game is definitely meant to be story driven, you know what I mean? And for that I apologize, because that's not definitely not our main focus today. But the game does, for what it's worth, have a pretty interesting story, and there's obviously detail and nuance we can't discuss or even that we'll run into in the game. So yeah, if you're interested in playing casually and you're like, oh, does this have more, like, is there still more I can figure out that we haven't quote unquote spoiled? Definitely, there's a lot more than we get a chance to show off.
At least the cutscenes are interesting looking. It's not just dialogue.
Cool cutscenes,
Like, I'm a huge,
and especially for their time.
horror game fan, and I just love
Yeah.
this stuff.
798 or what? Yeah, I mean that's blowing people's mind in Japan, especially because like this is a very American horror, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like the body
Yeah.
horror and stuff was very big at the time. So I got to imagine in Japan it was probably like really groundbreaking.
Yeah, Japanese horror, I like it. It sometimes is like eldritch, old gods kind of horror a lot of times, or like just the eerie, unsettling, like some
Yeah, I was
slice
about
of
to say,
life,
like, that
some slice of
really-
life, but something's off kind of horror.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really good. I'm a big fan of Japanese horror specifically. But yeah, this is very at the time too. Like they were definitely trying to this was like honestly when Square Enix was like, we can make an RPG that kind of is like a different game. Like we can make Brave Fencer Musashi and have it be sort of an RPG, but also kind of like Zelda. We can have
And
this
then-
game
and
kind of be
Vagrant
an
Story.
RPG, like have this be like Resident Evil, and it's like I always say it.
Yeah, what an
it's sort
awesome
of a meme,
time.
sort of not. But this is when Square was cool.
I mean, Musashi and Vagrant Story and Parasite Eve, and they're making this on top of like literally genre-defining Final Fantasy series. And what a time for games in general.
And then they have like other
Yeah.
movie stuff, like the shmup one. What's it called? Einhander or something like that. They had all sorts
and
of
the
cool stuff.
Bouncer.
Yeah, they
Yep,
had all sorts
the
of cool
Bouncer.
stuff going on at this time.
I don't think we'll ever see a remake of this. Those in the know that the rights for this game kind of are no longer in Square or Enix's hands, unfortunately. But we did mention there's some pretty interesting spiritual successors out there and currently in the works.
The remake
Yeah,
of this
because I
game
just
as
think
well.
like
And
yeah, go ahead. My fault.
the issue with the remake of this as well is that like even the second and third games were very different from each other, right? So it was clear that they weren't really sold on the direction the first one went, and a lot of like what made the first one not amazing maybe in its time are the things that we look at fondly now in hindsight, and I think that would be kind of hard to remaster in a way where it's like, you know, you're still kind of bringing the things you liked, which were not necessarily good qualities initially, into the modern game, and still maintaining that. It'd be pretty difficult. And there's been games like it, you know what I mean? And and even the other games in the series, like I mentioned, are very, very different. So, yeah, it's a really special title for that reason. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if maybe these non-corporate kind of projects are the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak.
Yeah, I think specifically the 45 Parabellum is like a real gritty indie take on it. The Parasite Mutant seems to be a little pandery in its presentation, but I'll still give it a chance. I'm not gonna rate it off,
Yeah.
but I think they're both pretty cool. I just think like horror RPGs is an incredibly untapped market. An RPG doesn't
Mainly
lend
so.
itself to a horror game necessarily because like
Yeah.
the types of scares that horror video games, they like jump scares and they like to put you in an unsettling situation that doesn't necessarily translate to sitting still and reading dialogue for a long time in an RPG. But I do think it's kind of an untapped market still. Like I think there's room
Yeah, I
for
totally
some
agree. I
really
think
cool
there's
stuff.
a handful of games that I've played that are like quote unquote horror RPGs, and you're right, a lot of it is more suspense driven because it's not going to pop out and scare you effectively.
Yeah.
But they're fun games. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
Sweet Home and stuff like that, Parasite Eve. Like there's an element of eeriness, I think, that kind of fuels the scare more so than like, the popping out of a zombie or what have you.
Yeah. And they could almost do like I think about it how Resident Evils, at least the old ones, worked, where they would use the load screen to like open a door as you go through it. Like you could do something like that to get into your encounters, where you're like, I'm not sure what's going to be on the other side of this door when I get into this encounter, but it might be scary, it might be nothing. I think there's a lot of stuff to utilize
I've
there.
heard enough. I'm quitting my job. Let's link up. We're gonna do this.
Well, I have 0 skills of any kind, but I can sure tell you stuff.
Hey, that's all right. That's all we need. Who needs
Yeah.
skills? It's 2025.
That's true.
No,
Make it
You
to
just
the
need a
next.
positive attitude.
You're under
A lot
a
of
limit
money.
break contract first.
The IP rights belong to Limit Break because the idea was come up with here, so we're gonna have to fight that in court. Just kidding, Nat. Pooh Wexel, don't worry.
Yeah, it's like Wexel's like, what is he talking about?
Do we have a staff lawyer?
Yeah, it's Doughwolf.
Palmer's talking again.
Yeah, that's why I have to do these runs and bring you out so we could say these outlandish things together. Have people rethink ever letting us do this again. Having them forget a
Yeah,
few
it
years
is
later,
a lot more
doing
fun.
it again.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun as a group because, like, the game is slow. You know what I mean? Like, it has slow points. So a lot of times it's nice to be able to kind of catch up on story or just nonsense in general.
Yeah.
Because, how many times have we seen the dumpster fire scene? A lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hundreds of times.
That trash can fire many, many times.
it can only be so funny. Like, to be fair, it's still very funny almost every single time, but sadly, even I
Marathon,
get
it's
tired of
funnier
it.
for sure.
Oh yeah. We're almost there, people. We're almost there.
Basically, this is setting up because in totality of the story, you're like, oh wow, we've just defeated the T-Rex at the museum. Clamp is dead. Like, what more could be left? And obviously a big showdown with Eve. But then we find out, even more kind of in this cutscene, they're discussing like what comes next after Eve, which is this ultimate being, which is why you see her in this kind of pregnant form. And in the movie and the book, that was handled a little bit more, let's say, crudely. It was a pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it was a very visible process, whereas in this game, it's kind of like it's just telling you, yeah, she's now pregnant with the seed of the ultimate being who could potentially come in and usher in like this new era of advanced mitochondrial beings. So Eve, even though she is, technically our antagonist, is not, the end all evil, which is very square in my opinion. Like, the
Yeah,
bad guy is never really the bad guy, you know what I mean?
it's our Necron moment for sure. Yay, we killed Kuja. Who's this buff guy in the sky?
I just killed what is it, Jet or whatever, and now I got to fight this. What is a Stingray or something in Final Fantasy X? It's also worth mentioning that with zero pilot skills whatsoever, they picked Aya up off the street and were like, "Listen, we're gonna need you to pilot one of these aircrafts because the bullets that you shoot are gonna probably do more damage than bullets we shoot because of mitochondria." And sure enough, she flew up in that bad boy, ace pilot, and put down the hurt. Put down the hurt.
And at the end of it, just leaves it up there.
Yeah, she's just straight. So it's still like hovering somewhere over the New York City, but we won't worry about that.
I still think it would have been so funny, like if in Parasite Eve 2 there was just like a helicopter floating up in the sky somewhere, like it's been like floating around the United States for all this time.
Or if just like you're in this scene right here, and in the background you just see it like crashing to the ground behind Eve.
Yeah. So here's like the Genova Ultimecia looking form of Sylvie. Looks like Ultimecia light to me.
This is real Final Fantasy. You got corkscrews and multiple arms and like just funny shaped body parts. Like that's a Final Fantasy boss right there.
A bunch of hands where hands don't go and no hands where hands should be.
His hair, like what are you doing?
Junji Ito sends his regards.
Yeah, this is peak Nomura.
And strategically, the part of the reason that it was so important to get the burst shot in the museum is because of this fight here. There's actually 3 targetable entities on Eve, but we're just gonna blast bullets and hit all of them at once, right? And you can imagine how that would expedite the speed of the fight tremendously. And making this fight shorter is almost always a good thing because her little annoying grabs are just very inconsistent and very disjointed hitboxes, and the fight is never very much the same.
That was my
fault.
After using the haste, I fell asleep on my movement, but that's okay. We're in pretty good shape here.
My least favorite grab is the one that it makes all your controls backwards.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that's fun.
There's literally one of the grabs will inflict you with a status that inverts the directional buttons on your controller.
The first grab, I was like, you know what, that one's on me. I'll take that. That second one, I don't know about that one.
Calling the lawyers.
I need a patch. Square Enix, patch this game.
Bug fix.
Yeah. Odd fix in 2025 for Parasite Eve on the PSN of the PS TV.
Specifically on the PS TV version.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's bring up a different point. I believe this game is still available on the PSN network for to purchase and download digitally for PS TV and PSP, which are the fastest ways to run this title if you ever are interested in speedrunning it. I ran on the PSP exclusively, and then I believe you guys did. You guys both run on the PS TV?
I'm on a PS TV, yeah.
Yeah, and so like strats and route and all that, totally the same. It's just they're just different platforms, whatever you have access to.
All right, and she's down. I was kind of worried about the damage because we glancing blowed a shot and only had 1 crit, but we do hit a lot harder than what the run was like an iteration or 2 ago because of the extra offense we pick up. So I was pretty confident we'd be all right, but I was a little interested. I was curious.
You never want Liberate to end and for her to still be doing stuff. You know what I mean?
To keep moving. You're like, oh boy.
That is anxious. Yeah.
I love this scene. This is my favorite scene in the entire game. This face melty smirk is so good.
Now it is nice to know that a game that's coming up on 20 years old and probably hasn't been printed in almost just as long, you can still purchase it. What a wild idea.
Yeah.
And not have to pay exorbitant prices for, pure physical copies. Though I don't think physical copies are too dramatically expensive, if I recall.
No, they're not that bad, especially if you're not getting the one that has like the demo. I think there's or if you don't get the demo disc or whatever that comes
Demo
with it. 'Cause
disc, yeah.
This game came with a demo disc that I think had Brave Fencer Musashi and Final Fantasy VIII on it or something like that.
Yeah.
8, yeah.
And even still, like complete inbox, I think it was about $70, which that sounds like a lot of money for a PS1 game in 2025, but trust that it is not compared to
Trust
some
and
others.
believe. Yeah, I remember
yeah.
the days of
yeah, I've spent a
$600
shameful
per
amount of
Delta.
money on some of these games. I mean, Earthbound is still like what in the 300s, I think, on
Yeah,
average.
that game's not even rare. I think I see it in legitimately every retro store I've ever walked into has a copy.
Yeah,
of
it's
Earthbound.
funny that now everywhere I go, there's Earthbound, and I'm like, I'm starting to. You guys found a treasure trove of these buried somewhere or what?
Repro cards, but this is not the place for that discussion.
The Parasite Eve disc is, I think I got mine for like $30 or something. Now this is a couple years ago. I'm sure it's gone up a little bit, but it was without that demo that you were mentioning, and I think that's probably the way to go if you're speedrunning it, because unless you're a collector or something, that demo disc really is adds a lot of price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I just got my copy either last year or the year before it. And it wasn't too bad. I think it was about $50.
I was going to say, you have a really good retro store near you that's I 100% recommend.
Yeah, I go. So there's a nice little coffee shop across the street. I go get myself a nice coffee, and then I go look at Sega Genesis games.
Yep. I used to work literally right at the end of that block.
Life is so good in 20. Like, if you didn't tell me any better, I would have assumed it was 1998 when you were telling me that.
Yeah.
Get a little drinky, go to my Blockbuster, rent a couple of games.
Nah, that place is an absolute treasure, and I'm so glad it exists.
Yeah, and they have
And at
2
least-
locations. I'm
we-
happy that they thrive.
We have a nice little retro. I guess it's a chain now. There's a couple locations here in Texas that I've been a big fan of as well. So you walk into places like that and you can like smell it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, it's like
Yeah.
the vibe as soon as you walk in. You're like, yeah, these are good stuff in here.
The other thing
Yeah,
that
looking-
makes me happy, their first location actually, like, you walk in, and if you go towards the back, they have like a hot air station set up. Like, they actually repair and work on stuff, which again is also like a dying thing these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a really good shop. I'm always a fan of looking into retro stores when I'm in areas I've never been before and stuff like that. Coffee and retro stores.
100%.
that'll-
100%. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like my. When I'm a tourist, that's like the thing I want to see. You know what I mean?
Yep.
As you know, whereas my wife will want to go to, like, I don't know, some historical monument, but I'm like, hey, is that a retro shop that is packed to the ceiling with junk? Like, count me in, bro.
Yeah.
Someone take Palmer to Akihabara, please. We'll never see him
No,
again.
dude,
but he will be so happy.
I would never make it out of the 99-cent stores, man.
I love the coffee and games Palmer is just talking about, and it's like, you guys don't understand how important the coffee actually is.
Hey, coffee and gaming, nothing better than when you wake up in the morning, you get a fresh brew, you take a couple sips, you feel that warming throughout your whole body, you just boot up a little Super Nintendo or something, you hear that really awful screeching MIDI chip. Oh man, that's life, dude.
to draw a picture for chat, a couple of hotels ago that we ran the event at, they just gave him a carafe for some reason. Next year, they're like, no, you don't get nothing. You got to pay for it.
Yeah, they were up and I was I think my face might be on the wall back there or something now, you know.
Just another Palmer moment that we all need to experience.
Oh, and in this fight, RJ's beating up a baby.
Well, now it's a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the this is the ultimate being we alluded to a little bit earlier, where basically Eve has birthed this final entity that will very quickly age to maturity, and then the idea is that it kind of ushers in this new era of advanced beings. However, we're going to do our best to punch it and shoot it and liberate and stop that from happening. But yeah, as you can see, there is just when you think like it's all over and the characters are like congratulating one each other on the victory, there's just another big bad on the horizon. And it's worth mentioning that you can save before these fights, but at the end of these fights, when you need to do the next section, if you try to save that same phone, the game will game over you and you'll have to do all these fights again. So that's a fun little
Nice.
little tidbit.
Yeah. And you
I
are
knew we were
giving,
gonna
like,
need one more
almost no
shot
direct.
there, so good thing he got to it before it laser beamed us. That fight is actually incredibly scary
Yeah.
without
If you-
liberate.
if
So
you-
scary. Yeah, in
Here
fact,
we
when
go,
I first
here's,
started running the game, that was the fight that I would lose most of my runs at, which is why I came up with which is why I started doing Liberate there instead of like the next one, because we used to do it like at the start of the third. But man, it's especially when they split, like they can really put some numbers on you with those little wings flying around and stuff, and they're very hard to keep next to each other.
This one should be
This fight is
yeah.
this is the adult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right? Or is this the? Yeah, okay, I'm getting the order. Yeah, baby, teenager, adult, and then the ultimate being. So yeah, this guy right here, he looks a little silly, but I actually feel better about this fight than the previous one. I don't know. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
no.
sure.
Once I make it out of
Like, you can actually
out of the
dodge this
phase
attack.
2.
I'm gonna let him jump on the.
Even his when he jumps to the center and does damage, I think it only half healths you or whatever. Like I don't think it can actually kill you. So there's a lot more like you can react and make the fight go different in this fight than you can in the previous.
Yeah, the one that
Some of
crawls
those
on the
sounds.
ground, the phase before this, just goes ham on you if you let it. Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like we're in a wind tunnel.
Glitch. That was cool.
I also love this fight because, like, if he's not in the center of the screen, he just kind of dies off to the side unceremoniously. It's like, oh, you can only see a little bit of him.
He's like completely obscured almost by the edge of the screen. You don't even see him.
Here's the time for this gun we were talking about in the museum. We're gonna switch to it. Good menu. Thanks, everybody. So we're gonna see if we get lucky.
Here we go.
I think if I didn't get stunned, I had a chance.
Ah.
Yeah, see, it
almost.
ended on the very first shot, and I missed one. We almost had it. Dumb crystals.
In that fight, normally,
Yeah, go ahead.
any gun is going to do 1 damage. So we shoot the gun with a bazillion bullets in it, hopes that some of them will crit for 2, and that you'll do, what is it, 20 damage total or something like that?
Yeah.
I think it is 20.
Now Daniel, the manual over here.
Yeah, this is the ultimate anime arc, Daniel. Look at this man. This is what peak performance looks like.
Bursting into flames like fries me every time because he's like not breaking through the stratosphere. You know what I mean? Like, why would he burst into flames?
Mitochondria.
Yeah, I always guess it's just because he's
It's gotta
getting
be
so
what it
close
is.
to the ultimate being or
Too
something.
close to Eve.
Yep.
Douses himself in the same swoop while delivering an Aaron Rodgers dart. Like, what an absolute legend.
All right.
Hey.
The heck did I do with my PB that I saved 10 seconds there? What? Sorry, just
You must have really
side things.
struggled over that gun menu or something.
Yeah. I must have gotten like just getting pummeled by the crystals or something.
Yeah, you're getting hit by the little things on the ground or something. Yeah. So kind of what you saw right there. RJ's, any gun you use in that first fight, gonna do 1 damage or 2 if it crits. And then Maeda gives us this gun, or it gives us this ammunition that Daniel obviously delivers to us, that is mitochondrially advanced, so to speak. And as a result, it does a bazillion damage to the final form of the ultimate being. But the game is still not over. In fact, one of the most intense, if not the most intense part of the whole game is now beginning. And I'll let RJ navigate this with expertise.
I literally say the notes out loud. just so I do not mess them up.
Yeah, you want to know? So for the longest time, my notes for this game were literally just 6 sentences, and it was this section.
Yep.
So, and that was it.
Do you know where we are, RJ?
What do you mean?
Don't you know where we are? It's Hell's Kitchen.
You can't stand out of the heat. Can't stand the heat. Then get out of Hell's Kitchen. That's right.
One time
I
for
didn't know where you were going
science,
with it.
I decided to just run past this and not trigger the destruction. And believe it or not, the game ends. Game over as you escape. So.
Yeah, there's like really no kind of heads up. Well, I guess there's a little, but like I couldn't imagine trying to like rough this out casually. Because like if you dawdle a bit too long or go the wrong direction, game over, do the whole thing again. Like
Yeah. You get like a couple, like maybe a second or 2 grace period before you need to really start moving, but that isn't going to stop you from going the wrong way eventually. There's almost always a fork of some kind on
The big
all of
thing,
the
yeah,
screens.
is they intentionally try to mislead you so that you have to do this more than once.
Yep.
And like you don't even really know that you have to
Oh, that's
immediately
fine, by
hit
the way.
that panel.
Yay!
Oh, great job! Hey, sorry, I'm on a
Yay!
little delay. My fault.
No, that's I was like I was just listening to him like 207 world record.
Oh, dude, you killed it.
Kinda.
It was a 239,
Get
which is
the
actually a
task,
really
forget
good marathon
everything.
run.
Yeah, no, that's a terrific time, my friend.
Yeah,
Well done.
239
Yeah,
is
I gotta say,
tremendous.
almost all the fights went incredibly like as well as we could have asked, and you didn't have to use the revives. Got the micro Uzis. So yeah, all in all, that's a pretty solid little chunk right there.
Yes,
Very well executed.
a Christmas miracle, some might say.
Definitely better than the Halloween miracle. So
True. Oh god, the Halloween one was something. But anyway, small. I guess we'll do some little sign-offs. If you're interested in running this game at all, like we've been talking about this entire time, there's incredibly detailed and thorough notes on the speedrun.com page for it. We do have a Discord for basically every Parasite Eve game. So if you're interested in running Parasite Eve, not even this one, you can join that Discord. I technically own the Discord now and am a mod for this game specifically. So if you ever have questions, feel free to reach out. I am always happy to get people into this game because I truly think it is a special game, an incredibly fun speed run, and something that is very accessible and easy to get into.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm RJ, as it says on the screen, and you can find me at pretty much everywhere with that name that's on the screen, if you feel so inclined.
Palmer, where can we find you besides on TikTok
Okay,
at
yeah.
Lily the Skunk?
yeah, really, you can't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't
Yeah.
really be streaming much these days, but you feel free to follow me on on Twitch or whatever, or just a big thing. Hop in the Discord. I'm still active in all the speedrun Discords. Still talk to the homies. Obviously, we link up to do events like this and runs together. So the community is really tight knit, and for the most part, everybody's always gotten along super great. And I'm thankful for that because not every community is the same or that welcoming or what have you. And when it's a small game, you really kind of have to foster a nicer community because it's already hard enough for people to be interested. So I just want to thank everybody that's part of the community for being cool and letting me continue to jump on commentary with some of these awesome lads and runners in general. So appreciate that, and great job, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm Kios. I'm pretty much everywhere when I decide to actually wake up on time. But yeah, we definitely have some cool things coming up. Like personally, I'm always on something. But specifically for this channel, RPG Limit Break, I know Sid mentioned we have an FFT task coming up, I believe.
Actually, it's the FF7 task, and we got
FF7 task.
Yeah,
Thank
we got
you.
Dash Retro and Asef are doing commentary, so it's going to be a really good show. Nice.
Dash is good people
present.
too.
Yeah. I was actually going to raid, but he decided to start playing Dragon Quest instead of Final Fantasy VII. So
Unbelievable. I was going to say, what other fun things? We have Questing for Glory coming up in a few... I should probably...
At the end of January.
It's the
at
task.
the end of January.
We have Look Outside, which is cosmic
Look
horror
Outside is
themed
so
game.
good. Speaking of more horror RPGs, it is legitimately one of the best indie RPGs I have ever played in my entire life.
Yeah,
there are some really good indie RPGs that have been like coming through. Just indie games in general. I think we talked about it before, but Tormented Souls franchise, really interesting horror game made by like 30 people out of Chile, and the sequel they released this year, incredible.
So the only other shows we have, it's the TAS next Sunday. The 4th is Look Outside. We got Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD, and we're actually going to throw Dragon Quest 3 in there too. So we're going to have a Dragon Quest 1 run, and then a hero-only Dragon Quest 3 run. Sells Indie Showcase or Hidden Encounters. Not quite sure what the game is just yet, but sells always delivers. And then the Questing for Glory, as aforementioned. Nice little relay. Maybe we can make a spot for some sort of interesting relay with Parasite Eve and the joined games in the nearish future. I'm always down for that. But
yeah, the fun thing with this is if you as an audience member have some fun speedrun RPG, maybe even RPG adjacent, don't be afraid to reach out. Like, we love showcasing things like this, especially if it's smaller or not as well known. Just reach out.
Things like Look Outside, sometimes I just happen to catch it through YouTube, but I love showcasing stuff like that, and a lot of those smaller communities were showcased because they mentioned it to me and we set up a show. So it can be pretty much anything as long as I can argue it's an RPG somewhere in my head. But unless you guys have anything else to say, I think we're about ready to go.
Nope, I'm good.
I'm good to go. Great job, everybody.
I am gonna send you guys to Close to War. He'll be playing Scarlet Nexus, which is another action RPG. Give it a chance. Close to War is a peak runner, though, so you'll get very good gameplay.
You won't always have full-blown commentary, but Vinny, for those of us in the speedrun community, especially with RPGs, he is incredible at his craft. That man has disassembled so many video games that just have stumped people for ages.
Yeah, I not to be like derogatory or anything, but I always quantify them as like monsters. They're just above the rest, towering next to the sun.
He's incredible.
All right, and I'm going to be getting us out of here. Have a good one.
Good job, everybody.